Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Style Esports. My name is Shinkari. I'm joined tonight by Basket of Knives, and we're here to bring you another grand finals of Season 12. Tonight, we have Mythic Fabled up against the Sand Ninjas, and we are ready to get this best of five underway. Two teams ready to duke it out here tonight. We've got picks and bans underway. Basket of Knives, you ready?
Oh, hell yeah, I am ready. It looks like the teams are ready as well. Already got 5 bans on the board. Yumi, Udyr, and Udyr for the side of Mythic Fable, and Karthus and Pantheon so far on the side of Sin, and just waiting on that last critical first round pick here coming out of the red side.
Yeah, these are some pretty. I would say that Mythic Fabled here are going for more meta bans here. Udyr and Hecarim already insanely powerful bans here for the jungle, and already wasting no time just saying, "Hey, we want to get all these jungle bans out of the way." They're even using a fourth ban, they would say here, to pick up the Sejuani. We've seen Mythic kind of favor this pick as well. Recently, we've seen it fall off in terms of the top lane here. What do you think of the Sejuani pick off first pick here?
The Sejuani pick is going to be really interesting. Last time that these two teams played together in the upper bracket finals, that was actually always the first ban out of the gate from the side of Sand Ninjas.
Hmm.
So the fact that it is left open means that either Sand Ninjas no longer is prioritizing it as much, and clearly Mythic Fable still wants to be able to utilize that as a power pick, whether it's top or jungle. It can kind of be flexed either way. So it'll be interesting to see how they go about that. A very safe first pick, but it is countered with the misfortune and particularly the Trundle, who gets to have the opportunity to just stat steal everything off the Sejuani in terms of her
Yeah.
being a tank.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Trundle has been the kind of the traditional counter pick to the Sejuani here. It's just going to have to follow wherever the Sejuani is going, and that's kind of the big thing. The good thing about locking in the Sejuani is early is that you can kind of flex it later on. The only problem is Sand Ninjas have the counter pick, so Mythic Fabled will be able to show their whole hand here. So they'll have to pick another kind of flexible top laner jungler, and I think Wukong is just about that pick.
Yeah, Wukong's going to be about all that you're going to be able to, the best you're going to be able to get out of that. Still leaves a little bit of a mystery of Wukong jungle or top. I would say I'm betting it's likely going to be that Wukong jungle with a Sejuani top, as Wukong does a lot better into the Trundle early on than Sejuani does. The Braum, though, another great pick, though, actually is a great way to counter Misfortune with his stand behind. Going to be very effective at blocking the bullet time, but looks
Hmm.
like they're going to be countering on the Sanders side with the Darius. So going threatening basically the all in early. Sejuani is a decent duelist early on, but Darius is just a better one.
Yeah. That passive is so insanely powerful. I've seen a few clips of Tyler One just trying to play top lane against a Darius and just watching just instantly every single even walking towards the minion wave. Darius immediately is able to turn around and just deal so much damage just purely based on that passive. And it's so insanely hard to deal with here, especially Sejuani. Scaling off against a lot of resistances here doesn't really do a whole lot against true damage. So you have a pretty threatening kind of top lane up on up here, as well as a couple counter picks depending on who's going to be going up there. And now we have the last few bans coming through here, Mumu and Anivia as well, starting off the second rounds of bans.
Yeah, the Amuma pick, very smart on the side of Mythic Fable. Amumu's been a very top tier level support early on. So, like so far in the back end of this season. So trying to limit the options that Sand Ninjas will have to be able to pressure against this Braum. Looking at the Renata ban likely as the final one. They also could ban out something like a Nautilus. It's also very effective to work with the Misfortune. But two mid lane bans coming out of Sand Ninjas saying we do not want to deal with AoE control mages here in the mid lane based on how their composition kind of right now wants to just run at them with the Trundle and Darius. They want to try to avoid getting slowed down and split up by the Oriana and the Anivia.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, these are two really good champions to kind of stop any sort of like strong advance. I think Sand Ninjas right now just really needs that one ultimate to just kind of pair with Misfortune. Now, with Renata Glask and Amumu off the table, there's still a lot of good options. Karma isn't exactly one of them, but definitely fits well with the team right here. Do you think this is a mid lane Karma?
Um, they could definitely flex it into a mid lane. If they do, though, they are kind of lacking in the magic damage department, which Mythic Fable could look to exploit. The Karma can work, though, as a great way to act as disengage versus the dive and the slows that they offer with Braum, Sejuani, and likely this Ashe lock-in. Yep, this Ashe lock-in here. The Karma can provide a lot of peel for that, as well as good poke into the Braum lane. So not
Mm-hmm.
necessarily the worst pick, but they're going to need a lot more peel if they want to have that reliable damage out of Misfortune. But they also are looking like they're going to do the Azir half of the Victor Azir mid lane duel here, which does give them a lot of late game insurance damage, as well as some of that peel with the Emperor's Divide.
Yeah, definitely a real good pickup here. I personally like the Victor into the Sand Ninjas team once again. We like putting up the we like putting up the little line of scrimmage here to kind of halt that advance into the enemy team here. But I think the big thing for me is that there doesn't seem to be like a really strong damage dealer for Mythic Fabled here. It really all seems to be onto the Victor to deal that massive amounts of damage here. I think the big thing for me is Ashe will be able to deal damage, but that's not exactly what Ashe is known for, right? She's more of that utility champion that allows everyone else to just kind of like enable everyone else and have the damage somewhere else. Like maybe the Wukong, but once again, Wukong has that man. Maybe it's just kind of too spread out amongst many champions. What is your thought here?
So the Ashe pick's an interesting one because it does normally kind of lack in the damage department by comparison of something like a Sivir, Zeri, Jinx, or
Hmm.
something of that nature that can kind of scale well into the late game. But what it lacks in that, it makes up for in a little bit more of the AoE side of damage with the volley. If you go Runon's Hurricane, which I'm likely expecting to see out of the Ashe, and as well as just you're just kind of providing a little bit more utility to let your Wukong and your Victor work. If you provide the space for the Wukong and the Victor to be able to get in and out of fights, the Victor's going to be able to blow up the main damage dealer, the Misfortune, and even with the Azir, if you pile enough resources on top of him, he will go down. So it is a little bit of the on both sides of it. It's protect the carry, but with the side of Sand Ninjas, they do have more carry threats, but Mythic Fable has much more lockdown. So it's kind of
Hmm.
the battle of the shield versus the sword, which will win out, and it's just going to be kind of coming down to how they try to play out the different stages of this game.
Right, and I totally agree with that as well. Like we're looking at a team that kind of is based around kind of bullying early, I'd say, with the Sand Ninjas, right? Like they have a snowballing AD carry, they have a bully up in the top lane, and then their mid lane seems to be kind of like an even kind of back and forth as well. And Trundle was picked here as a counter pick to the Sejuani as well. So just having those with those things in mind, it just seems like Sand Ninjas is looking to get an early lead here, snowball off of that to a point where Mythic Fable won't be able to answer. Whereas Mythic Fable just kind of with regards to the Victor and the Ashe, right? Like we're looking at a team that wants to go just a little bit later, doesn't need to win the early game, right? Can kind of like bow out and lose gracefully and convert that into mid and late game victories.
Yeah, they definitely can look for the later game options because they will always kind of have that. But I'm thinking it's definitely going to be much more of a how do we index around dragons for both these teams? One, the bottom lane meta has always been the very big focal point of especially the later half of this season, as well as these teams specifically. They play around their bottom lanes. Their AD carries are exactly that, the AD carries. So I'm expecting early fights for early dragons, control for vision. Mid lane, I don't expect there to be a ton of stuff besides cordial poking back and forth until you get to 6. And top lane's not necessarily the best. Like, it can work as a good ganking spot, but top lane's not going to win you this game. It is going to be who takes the bottom lane, and you do have the speed and disengage of a Karma Misfortune, but as well you have the chase down capabilities of the Braum Ash. So depending on how the early game of the bottom lane plays out, that could be the biggest way in which this first game of this best of 5 shifts.
Yeah, and you know, it all comes down to that kind of momentum as well. Because once again, this is a best of 5. This isn't best of 3 where you know you go 2-0 and then suddenly you know you don't have anything left in the tank and it's all over, right? If this goes 2-0, there's still another game to play afterwards. And so, you know, sometimes the momentum of these winning and losing of the games can somehow affect your mental, affect you going into game number 3, game number 4, and sometimes even game number 5 as well. So every single one of these games are important, even though they're not match point, right? This could be a long series, and in which case we're going to see the stamina of all these players challenged here, and whether or not their decision making is going to carry on into game number 4, game number 5, and even into some of these later games as well, if these games go late as well.
Oh, absolutely. And the biggest thing to remember with it being a best of 5 series is that we're not seeing necessarily all of their best right now at this moment. There's a lot of stuff that's still left up on the table that they're used to playing that hasn't been pulled out yet. Because it is just game one. They are testing each other. They are saying, all right, we're going to play, we're feeling this composition, we're feeling this style. Let's see if you can beat this. And if
Hmm.
not, how do you counter it later? How can you come back and make a win? You know, you don't see a lot of Ash Braum in the meta recently. But if Ash
Hmm.
Braum wins this game for Mythic Fable, suddenly you got to question some of those bans that you put on the table earlier. There was no bottom lane bans that you threatened with. Do you have to now start to respect that bottom lane? And the same thing if the Sand Ninjas win. Do you have to get rid of the Trundle if you want to play the Sejuani? Do you have to get
Hmm.
rid of the Misfortune if you don't have an answer for it? So this first game is going to be very critical with setting the tone of this series because last time these two teams played, Sand Ninjas took it 2-0 in the best of 3.
Hmm.
So they have already the mental edge of saying, we've only had to play 7 playoff games. We're 6-1. Mythic Fables had to play 9 and they're 6-3. So, and those extra losses came at the hands of the Sand Ninjas. So
Yeah.
now you've got a little bit of that edge and potentially a little bit more sticking power and hitting power on the side of Sand Ninjas, but a lot more CC on the side of Mythic Fable. So it'll be very
Hmm.
interesting to see how these two teams want to play this out and what the repercussions of this game one will be to shift toward the rest of the series.
Yeah, for sure. But with that, we are going to take just a quick break. And when we come back, we're going to be on the rift of game number 1 of the best of 5, Mythic Fabled up against Sand Ninjas. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after this. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Style Esports. My name is Shinkari. I'm joined by Basket and Ives, and here we are, game number one. We are on the Rift. Mythic Fabled is on the blue side. Sand Ninja's on the red. We're ready to get this rematch underway. Game one is ready. Basket and Ives. Are you ready?
Oh yeah, dang right, I am ready. It's been pretty exciting so far. Just that quick little bit of vision control taken down by Sand Ninjas. A 5 stack though in the bottom bush. They might be either thinking that there's an invade coming, but nope, they are threatening the late invade here on the side of Mythic Fable, looking to try to utilize that early damage and CC power that they have to set the tone and get Wizard off his rhythm.
Yeah, this is between Sejuani and Braum. Let's see if Sejuani started the stun herself. Okay, she hasn't leveled any ability yet, but they do have the Braum here. All right, here comes the invade coming in through the jungle here. Ash W comes out. They're already on top of the blue buff here. Here comes down to it. The blue buff has been picked up by Swamp Wizard here, so that's huge. Olazi has been taken low, but he does pick up first blood here. Dav G was able to pick up the kill in return, and now they're trying to turn it around. Master Roshi has been slowed, now forced to flash away. Dav G still going forward, going to be able to pick up a double kill for themselves. And that is such a huge win, as I think both top players just trying to look at the fight happening below. Their cameras must have been down there. But man, they're able to get first blood, but they didn't pick up the blue buff. They got a double kill over to Dav G, and now Gotyu is already taken so much damage by Panda Lover here. Look at that, flashing forward underneath the turret. Ooh, not as much as a lead as he'd like, but man, oh, what a start.
What a start indeed. The initial play actually went disastrous on the side of Mythic Fable because while they did get the first blood, Swamp Wizard still got the experience for the blue buff, and then Dave G ended up getting the blue buff back after Olazy got it. So Sand Ninjas end up ahead off that play with both summoner spells on the bottom side, as well as experience and buffs. But on the top side, Panda Lover over-indexing a little bit with thinking that he could win that early game fight, blows both of his summoners to gain not much of an advantage. And then Sejuani doesn't lose out on any experience by having that teleport to get back into lane. But a lot of early poke here with that Misfortune and Karma being able to be really abuse their range here versus Ash and Braum.
Yeah, not to mention that Misfortune starting with that blue buff as well and having 2 kills in their pocket. This is a really big lead for Misfortune here. And now, look at that. We're 3.5 minutes in. That's already a new quiver.
Yeah, already a very bloody game. Basically a minute a kill so far. Junglers are finishing their entirety first clears though, and we're going to be maybe even seeing a little bit of some contestant around these first scuttles here on the bottom side. We'll see if Olazy makes his way up there, or if he just concedes this first scuttle.
Yeah, he might end up having to concede it because he's taking a little bit longer on the Krugs than he'd like. Hopefully he doesn't get double crapped here because I think that might just be a bigger victory for them as now Panda Lover fighting Gotyu over the top lane. Finally got that level advantage, but look at that minion damage firing back at Panda Lover here. So end up being equal back and forth up here.
Yeah, good back and forth, but actually managing to hold on to the wave from Gotyu pretty well to get this low to stack in, but he might be over-indexing here.
Yeah.
There might be another level, and Panda Lover takes him down, that extra damage out of the Darius. A little bit stronger with the Doran shield versus the Doran's ring here early on.
Yeah, it was really, really close. Came down to the wire there. Is now Olazi finding out Hilsey in the mid lane here. As forced to be backed away there.
Yep, just trying to get that wave to reset enough for him to be able to get that recall in, but actually kind of create a freeze for himself there. So WCat's going to be able to kind of set this up for a bit of a freeze. Already has the level 5 versus level 4 on the Azir, so we'll see if he can actually get an optimal reset in here before getting that recall in, because he did back for the Blasting Wand, so he is actually a little bit further away from that critical loss chapter. So he might be a little bit behind tempo on those first sets of items.
Yeah, what? Do you know what this blasting wand might be looking to be built into here, or do you think it's just like, hey, I want the extra AP more than I want the mana?
I'm assuming he's just doing it off of the desire to get that AP early. If you went back and you had exactly 850, you're not, and you didn't want to wait at all for the extra 20 gold for 2 amplifying tomes, you just go for the blasting wand instead. But that's currently the only way I can think of it. I don't play enough mid lane Azir to be able to
Hmm.
provide you a good idea as to what else he might be trying to look for there.
Right. Okay. I guess that's fair, right? Like, because if you backing and having at 850 gold means that you either come back, you either wait for the amp tomes, or you sit there and you go amp tome boots, go back to lane, right? So I think the blasting wand, even though not the most ideal, is still probably better than just picking up a couple amp tones.
hmm But that first dragon going over to the side of Sand Ninjas, again, that early pressure coming in, and it looks like they might even be looking for a wraparound gank here, baiting in the dive with the stun on Karma. But here comes
Yeah.
Trundle.
Ooh, yeah. Real good job on a Master Roshi here. Already taken really low. Swamp Wizard looking for a little bit more here. Madame Lolo still pretty low. Might be able to turn this around if they play it smart, but flash forward, get the chomp, get the auto, double kill for Dav G down to the bottom lane here. That is more gold onto this Misfortune, and this early game is not looking good for Mythic Fabled right now.
All that Ghost did for Madame Lolo was just get him quicker to the grave. Super unfortunate. Not a lot you could have done there at that point. Once Roshi was caught, you just kind of had to leave him. He still had flash available, but unfortunately did not have his other cooldowns to be able to get himself out, and costing them huge. A 4-0 Misfortune already has Noon Quiver and is likely going to be able to get herself enough for her pickaxe and get herself so much closer.
Yeah,
Yep, she has all the
yep,
components
there it
already
is.
for Kraken Slayer. This Misfortune is massively ahead already early on, 7.5 into this game.
Yeah, it's not even close at this point. We can take it, even if you take a look at just the inventories. I don't think we need to pull the gold screen in order to see that now. As Panda Lover in some trouble up in the top lane, going to be stunned up. Alazi does not have that ultimate just yet, but the Noxie and Guillotine is going to come across, going to flash away, but the Ignite is ticking. There it is, last bit of damage. Not going to be able to take him down this time. Panda Lover escapes with his life, but under 100 HP.
Yeah,
Ooh,
unfortunately, the
so
Red
close.
Spite Burn does not do enough for him, and a little bit of unwillingness to flash after him. You had flash on both Wukong and Sejuani, just
Madame
didn't get
Lolo
used,
in
but
some
another
trouble
duel
here in
down
the
here bottom
bottom
lane.
lane. Yeah, Dav G going to be taken pretty low, but not going to be able to take down this time as Master Roshi, the only person left to tell the tale. So they're going to be able to back away. Finally, picking up another kill onto themselves in the bottom lane here. Dav G continues the rampage.
Yep, Dabji already with 5 kills, and Sejuani's getting slowed down here by the Swamp Wizard. He wants to stomp her down, but doesn't get anything. Just a nice clean reset. The wave's in a perfect position for Sejuani just to get a reset back and either walk or teleport back into lane here.
Yeah, as now, yeah, this is not where you want to be at about 9 minutes into this game. 2.7k thousand gold separates these two teams, and normally that's not something you can't come back from. But if you're looking to be a team that loses the early game gracefully, this is not a very graceful way to lose it. Now, luckily, a lot of this gold is only onto Misfortune. A lot of these other lanes are pretty even, but even in this top lane, got you against Panda Lover, not exactly going how you would like either.
Yeah, the Darius a great counter pick. It's been acting very well into the Sejuani so far. It looks like there's a wraparound gank. You have the roam up from Hilsey. They're looking to do a dive on this next wave versus the Sejuani.
Yeah, that's gonna take them a bit though. I feel like Panda Lover might they're gonna have to path all the way back here. Is okay, that's gonna make it even more awkward. As now Hilsey has to go in, flashing, getting the root here. Trundle Pillar coming across and ulting underneath the tower here, trying to tank it up. Is now Hilsey trying to tank it for themselves. Good passing the turret aggro back and forth here, able to pick up the dive on the top side here. A kill once again going over to Panda Lover up in the top lane.
It is absolute disaster on the side of Mythic, but honestly also a very sloppy tower dive from the side of Sandages. They managed to get away from it. We have a pause coming in here, but that just kind of was definitely a very sloppy one, not kind of how I think they envisioned doing it, but they did in the end of the day get the kill, so they got what they were looking for, just cost them probably an extra flash or so, and some HP on their health bars. But overall, I'd say it's still a very strong start on the side of Sand Ninjas. Obviously, you don't need to play much around bottom anymore because you have the dragon lead and you have a 5-0 Misfortune with a Kraken Slayer at 10 minutes versus a Noon Quiver Pickaxe Ash. So
Yeah.
until Mythic Fabled starts playing around bottom lane, you don't need to send Swamp Wizard down there at all. He can play to the mid and top side, primarily the top side, because you have the melee versus melee matchup. It's more indexed for you to gank that and potentially get a kill versus, the Azir Victor can kind of get themselves out of there pretty easily. So right now Sand Ninjas are playing their game exactly as they want to, and I'm expecting them to go for an early Rift Herald here after this pause is resolved.
Yeah, I think so as well. You've got the top priority. You've got 3 people here. Panda Lover's probably not joining you, but Hilsey and Swamp Wizard should be enough to take down that Rift Herald right here, and that's is a really good it's a really good objective to be picking up at this stage, right? You've already got a bunch of leads in a bunch of other lanes. Dropping that into the mid lane and getting some extra gold for your Azir, who really only is ahead and might only barely be tied in gold. Let's take a look real quick. Yeah, he's behind by like tens of gold, if any. If I think it's ones of gold. Yeah, it's 7. He's behind by 7 gold. So at this stage, just giving him that little extra oomph and to give him a lead in the mid lane should be pretty good.
Yeah, definitely should be a good one. But yeah, lots of ground to make up. And it looks like we are back from that pause.
Yeah, and now we get the pause after the pause. Love to see it. All right, we're gonna have to wait a second. Love Spectate Client for League of Legends. Shoutouts to Spectate Client.
Yep, you gotta love it.
Mm-hmm.
Still just chilling.
Do.
There we
Ah, there we go.
go.
Hey.
Teleporter into the Azir, but immediately takes actually a Corvus HP, a great gravity field to the laser. But looks like they might be trying to set up a gank here on the bottom side for the side of Mythic Fabled.
Yeah, as now, once again, we got a turret dive under here. Davg knocked into the air, but they're going to have to be able to get it for themselves. Ashe picks up the shutdown, and Master Roshi is going to take their lives, but luckily, it was only a execution for the Braum there, as they're finally able to put some gold back into Ashe's pockets here. Really good shutdown.
That is absolutely critical. That was effectively with the plate and the kill, 1,000 gold boost onto the Ashe. Gives her an extra 1,300, getting her very close to having that next item. But there's another engage here. Azir is getting dangerously low, has to flash out against the Victor. Uses the Sand Soldiers, but not enough. But here comes Trundle.
Swamp Wizard coming through. WCat taking pretty low here. Trying his best to stay alive, but there's only so much he can do here. Gravity Well is not going to save you this time. Swamp Wizard puts another kill onto the board for his team here as they continue the gold lead here. Panda Lover once again fighting Got You up in the top lane here. That's going to be full stacks of the passive here, but not going to be able to fully go through with that. Okay, not going to look for the Noxian Guillotine just quite yet.
Nope, but immediately going right onto that dragon. Again, still playing to their advantage. They do still have a big lead. The Enchanted Crystal is available, though, but not going to even try to go for the engage there. They did not have the ultimate advantage. Still, the Wukong ultimate was down, so was not willing to take that risk of falling further behind. So the 2-ult dragon lead on the side of Sand Ninjas.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and now we have the Hextech Drake available for the Soul this time around. And this is, once again, this is an incredibly powerful Soul. One of the best ones, in my opinion, and arguably the best one, because, there's not a single champion that doesn't like having attack speed and cooldown reduction, and that chain lightning that you get at the Soul as well is just too much to not be able to like here.
Oh yeah, and this is actually one where, regardless of the team, it is so good, because also the slow, so the ability to chase teams down. That chain lightning slow is going to be so good for either team. They might be setting up here. You got Olazy sticking around, but Swamp Wizard's coming in. You immediately already had the...
Yeah, Glenn's already came down here as Master Roshi now is in some trouble here. Has to dash back to Matt and Lolo here. Here comes Olazy in with the spin to win. Going to be able to take Swamp Wizard low here. Going to be able to take them down as now Hilsey next on the target for Madame Lolo as they're able to find a second kill here. Make that 3 as Misfortune goes down as well. Ash finally popping off. It doesn't matter how many kills you got on the scoreboard. They're taking you down and swinging the gold back into their favor. 4-2-1 on the Ash. Holy moly, what a turnaround.
What a turnaround indeed. Already tied up. Now slingshotting ahead about 500 in gold, plus getting these plates down here onto Madame Lolo. A huge turnaround. And that was just one, the power of this Ashe Braum Wukong combo to get those slows, to keep them around, as well as a little bit of, again, over-aggression from the side of the Sand Ninjas. Diving a little bit too deep from Swamp Wizard, and also not recognizing that Dave was out of mana. Dave had nothing else that he could really do. Couldn't even utilize the bullet time ultimate. So you're just a Misfortune who's trying to tap a single target, and unless you can swap targets, you ain't getting anywhere.
Yeah, now Ganyu fighting Panda Lover once again up in the top lane here, but that's gonna be Ghost Pop here as Swamp Wizard fighting the rest of the blue team down around the Rift Herald here. We have a teleport coming in from the Victor as well. Ash Enchanted Crystal Arrow came across as well. That's gonna be Wang Badang picking up the kill right there. As now they're trying to turn it around because Ash has finally shown into the fight. Swamp Wizard in some trouble as that's gonna be Madame Lolo picking up another kill for themselves. Now Panda Lover looking for the kill on the W cat, gonna be able to secure that for themselves, trying to live through this fight, but can't be able to get it as Madame Lolo picks up a second kill for themselves. Still looking for something, can't find the slow on a Wang Badang just yet, but their HP bar is pretty low here. Might be able to try to bait them out using Master Roshi, but they can't quite get it. LZ wards over the wall. He's still looking to fight. Gonna dash away. Alrighty. Looks like these two teams are gonna peel away, and 2 more kills into the pocket of Madame Lolo here.
It's an absolute bloodbath on this game 1, and we're not done. There's still more. Hilsey has to flash out to avoid the fissure from Braum, but so much blood. 19 kills, 15 minutes, and we are neck and neck, only 500 gold of difference. Flash out from Roshi there, keep himself alive. But man, what an exciting opening game here to these finals. First towers are getting dangerously close to going down, but first tower will go down on the side of Mythic Fabled. Gotchu's got that first tower.
Yeah, I mean, this is such a completely different game than what I was expecting. There's so many times where a team gets a lead early and then the other team starts floundering around. They don't know what they're doing. They're confused on how to be able to come back from such odds, and they take such scared movements. But look at what Mythic Fabled have been able to do. They charged Misfortune head on, who was 5-2 or 5-1 at the moment. And at the time, and now she's 5-2. She's down in gold now. She might have her mythic finished, but now she's kind of on par with a lot of the other members of the team here. So now 27.1, the gold finally in their favor. Mythic Fable doing a good job playing from behind and able to turn this game around.
Yeah, and this is what I was saying earlier. They've got a little bit more of that defense on the side of Mythic, so they can take some of these fights from behind and say, all right, we're stronger on the defensive end, and we've got more CC. So, Misfortune, if you can't kill us right away, if you can't keep yourself safe at all points in time, we will run you down. We will find you, and we will kill you. Right there, costing the summoner out of Dave already. So, Misfortune, without that flash, you only have a cleanse, and you've got Sejuani ult. You have Wukong ult. You have Ashe ult, and you have Braum ult, and we're not done. Swamp Wizard's in trouble.
Yeah, Swamp Wizard going to be stunned up here, but immediately going to put down that pillar in order to give them a little bit of space here. Mythic Fabled now finally able to get some priority on this Drake here. All 5 members are here. Swamp Wizard might be in a little bit of trouble. Stuck inside the gravity well. Going to be stunned again. Chaos Storm is going to be able to find 1. Are they going to be able to find 2? Is on the top half of this map. Hilsey, Dav G, and Wang Badang already really low. Have to walk through the Emperor's Divide here. Got you. Still trying to find some line of scrimmage for their team here as the rest have to back away after losing 2. Going to be able to put Victor finally onto the scoreboard here is now the first Hextech Drake goes over to Mythic Fable.
Yeah, first of 4 that you will need if you are the side of Mythic, but that is a huge amount of damage spike there. The attack speed. Ashe is one of the best champions in the game to utilize attack speed and ability haste. So utilizing that, you're going to be so strong now. And critically, on all these fights, what has Swamp Wizard not been able to do? He has not been able to use his Subjugate onto Sejuani. Sejuani's been able to be a full tank in all fights, and Trundle, he might be a troll king, but right now you are the king of being 1-4-7 and not carrying your team on your back.
Yeah, that's really the big thing, right? Like that's kind of the reason why this Trundle was locked in here. Now, granted, I don't think Trundle really is bad in this. Even without being able to ult Sejuani, I still think is pretty good in this team comp, right? Trundle really good against immobile characters as well as the big beefy tanks, right? But going down first in these fights is mostly what the big thing is as well, right? Going down first in these fights, not being able to tank up all that damage is definitely putting Swamp Wizard on a bit of a back foot here, and might force the rest of his build to be just a little bit more defensive in order to survive some of this damage if he's being focused this hard.
Yeah, and you already see that they've already got double Merc Treads on the side of Panda Lover and Swamp Wizard, so they already know that they've got to be able to shrug off some of this CC and the duration of it. So we'll see what they can do, but not looking good from a very strong early game out of the Sand Ninjas. A massive comeback so far from Mythic, and we're going to see what ends up going down here. Not much to say, with Dragons coming up in about 3 minutes, but Baron is coming up in 30 seconds as its availability, and you're dropping that Rift Herald mid to really try to get that extra inside track for whatever the next objective play is.
Yeah, they just have to be careful because the red team is already prepping a flank here. That's going to be Shirelia's Battle Song popped here. Is now Panda Lover looking for Master Roshi here, taken incredibly low, but that's going to be red team taking the first fight here as Alazia is already on the backside here, running rampant. No one able to stop him as that's a double kill for them. Sejuani ultimate comes across as well, and that's the first ace of the game coming through. It's going to be picked up by Victor here, and Mythic Fabled march their way over to Baron. Got You is underneath the turret, taking one, taking the inhibitor as well. What a victory for them.
And again, they tried to get onto Madame Lolo, but a perfectly timed flash before the Trundle pillar comes down from Swamp Wizard. And now it's an easy Baron. You're 20 minutes. You're an Ashe with Kraken Slayer and Blade of the Ruin King. You melt a Baron. So what a heck of a comeback so far. You got mid inner, you got mid inhibitor, you got mid inhibitor tower, and you're getting the top outer. A massive swing goal. They were almost 3K down. Now they're 5,500 ahead.
Yeah, this is such a big turnaround for Mythic Fabled here. And now they kind of have the run of the map here. They have a lot of room to kind of work with here as now Hilsey, I think Hilsey was also like, oh, hey, don't mind me, just leaving.
Yep, and that war just kind of is just cannon fodder at this point. But yeah, it's on Sand Ninjas to try to make a play. You need to slow down the pace of this game if you're Sand Ninjas. You have an Azir, you have a Misfortune. You need to get these champions to level 16 at this point. You need to get them 2-3 items. We need a death cap on the Azir if you're Sand Ninjas. You need an Infinity Edge if you are Dave G on the Misfortune. This is what I'm expecting in their comms right now is, guys, get damage control. Stem the bleeding, get vision, defend, let the carries get farm. Because otherwise this game's going to end real fast on the side of Sand Ninjas.
Yeah, and it looks like Mythic Fabled is not going to give them a chance to do that. Swamp Wizard caught out in their own jungle, taken incredibly low. Master Roshi's going to be the one picking up the back kills. Now Madame Lolo underneath this top inner turret here, going to be going down as well. There's 2 members down, and man, it's going to be hard to stem the bleeding with only 3 members left on your team. Got You just ignoring Wang Badang down in this bottom lane here as the team continues the split push up on the top half.
Yeah, and Got You's able to do that bottom lane push because she's got all the tank stats, but she also doesn't have any sort of heal cut like a Bramble Vest, so she can hit on that tower all she wants. And the tower's never gonna hit her back as long as there's that stacked wave.
Yeah, now now all they have to do is just wait for the oh, okay.
It is the exit, because guess what, everyone?
Yep.
It's Hextech Dragon. You're getting yourself already ahead, and you're grabbing a second Hextech Dragon. 2 inhibitors down at 22.5 minutes. You're coming in on... The Ashe will have PD available. You might even have enough for a death for at least a rod, if not both rods, out of the Victor, or you might just go right for a Medjai's just because you already have the Dark Seal, even though you only have 1 stack on it, just to get the extra Mythic passive.
Yeah, I mean that might just be the easiest to pick up, right? Like you're already so far ahead. It's been so long since Victor has actually died anyway, but it looks like they're just going to go for the needlessly large rod. There's a lot more AP under them as well, but this is looking really good for Mythic here as man, they are playing so well coordinated. Even their passage through the Mythic through the Hextech gates looks coordinated here as well. So they're really doing a good job trying to finish off this game here. Only one more turret and inhibitor, and they're going right for it right here. They're wasting no time.
Oh yeah, wasting no time, but they also have all the time in the world. Critically, Stopwatch picked up on Madame Lolo after getting that fan or Stopwatch picked up on Lazy, so we can tower dive now, as well as the Executioner's Calling to provide that heal cut against the Trundle and the Darius. And you actually have components for a Bramble Vest on the side of Gachu, so massive spikes coming out of everyone on the side of Mythic Fabled, and we'll see if they can get that Fabled, that elusive win that they have yet to get off of Sand Ninjas on game 1 of this best of 5, but they're looking to press in and maybe get a good chunk of damage off of this last inhibitor tower.
Yeah, sadly they don't have that Baron buff anymore, so they can't just sit around and have that cannon minion wail on the turret here. So this is really going to be a moment that they just have to stick as 5, wait for the waves, and then just move in with them just real slow. It's not going to be as fast as probably they'd like. This is going to be their best shot here. As bullet time comes across, good shield, but look at Alazi immediately diving, pressing that stopwatch as well. Emperor's Divide is going to stop their advance for just a little bit longer here, but Alazi finally diving in on through them here. Davg was taken down, but there's a great Enchanted Crystal Arrow. Immediate response from the rest of the team here. Hilsey is now going to be the next focus here as they're going to be going down as well. Wukong picking up another kill, and now Swamp Wizard and Panda Lover are the only members left on the team. They're going to be able to find the bottom lane inhibitor and start wailing on these Nexus turrets here. 5 members strong. Swamp Wizard, Panda Lover, the only members left. You're going to need a Darius Twitter clip in order to save this game. Let's see. There's the pull. There's the Noxian Guillotine stunned in the middle of the animation here. Still trying to look for the kills here. Finds 2. Can they be able to find 3? Sejuani's going to be able to find the kill.
This Fortune's alive.
The Swamp Lover is still alive. Madame Lolo is going to be able to find the next kill there as they go down. WCat now having to find Davg here. Well, there's the burst damage that they needed, and now they go down. Hilsey comes through, now trying to get him for themselves here. Flashes forward, it gets the triple kill for WCat as Wang Badang is going to be able to finish off for their team there. Shut down for the Azir, the ace as well. They defend the base, keep this game alive for just a little bit longer. Sand Ninjas.
Sand Ninjas is making such a huge desperation play. They're barely surviving. Those stopwatches bought so much time, and yes, they did survive. They do get to live to fight another day, and Baron is currently alive, but their base is in absolute shambles, but barely holding on to that middle inhibitor tower. A risk that Wang Badang had to take by saying, I'm going to defend the inhibitor tower, and I'm going to trust that the minions can hold off that super that was trying to kill their final Nexus tower, because if you go down having all 3 inhibs down again and double supers coming in, there is no chance that you're going to be able to make a contest for the Baron or the upcoming Dragon here.
Yeah, is now the problem here is now they're kind of in a lose-lose scenario here, right? Like if they go to contest the Baron, they have to deal with unleashed teleports going directly into their base, right? They have to make sure that these waves are shoved all the way out if they want a chance at contesting this Baron. But now this Baron is nearly halfway done here, and they're nowhere to be found. Over the wall, Trundle steals it. Trundle gets the objective bounty as well. Swamp Wizard continues to try to keep this game alive. Baron buff on the red team here is the only thing that's going to be able to keep them in the game here. But now they're down a man, and they need to be able to defend this. It all comes down to this. Got you going on to Hilsey here, but doesn't go over the wall. Cat Panda Lover still looking for the fight here.
A
There's
big
the
Emperor's
Shurima
Divide.
Shuffle. That's huge. Bullet Time comes across as well. Going to be able to find one. They find two. Are the red team finally being able to turn this around? Wang Badang looking for a little bit more. The Sand Soldiers collapse onto Master Roshi, but they can't quite find the kill just yet. Teleport into the mid turret. They're looking to turn this game around. They want to grab the rest here. What a turnaround from Sand Ninjas. Holy moly.
What a turnaround indeed. Perfect combination of the Emperor's Divide plus the bullet time coming on out, and a huge push, a great teleport from Wang Badang, and they're looking to try to get in here. They are trying to equalize some of this deficit of objectives and gold, and we are closing in. Game again, swinging back and forth. That gold graph is a roller coaster at this point, and we are down to 1,000 gold difference, and Hex Tech Dragon is up. Whoever gets this will be on Soul Point.
Yeah, Trundle immediately on it. So really good job by Swamp Wizard here, not wasting any time. It's like, hey, we need this Drake. We need to make sure that we deny the soul point here and make sure this game is extended longer, right? Well, now it's going to take at least 10 minutes for Mythic Fable to use that dragon as their win condition here, and another 4.5 in order to use Baron as theirs. So this is going to be the time for Sand Ninjas to continue doing what they have been doing, slowing down the pace of the game, making sure they're taking advantages where they can, and continuing this game. Because look at where Misfortune is right now. 3 items in, she's tied with Ash now.
Yep, actually now even 4 items in, had enough to fully buy the rapid fire cannon, giving her an even more ability to stay back and space properly in these fights. But also on the other side, Azir's got Death Cap. So he's going to have a lot of... Sorry, Victor has Death Cap. Victor having that Death Cap is going to be so huge. If he gets any amount of free time on Azir, Karma, or Misfortune, they are gone.
Yeah, and it's really going to come down... What I also want to point out is Sand Ninjas is doing a good job of making sure that these waves are always shoved outwards. There's not really a backdoor opportunity for Mythic Fabled right now. So this is a really, really good job by Sand Ninjas, hunkering down, turtling as best they can. And yeah, we can see the fruits of their labors kind of pan out through the gold, through the items as well, as now we have to have Olazi kind of answer that large minion wave pushing in the top side there.
Yeah, but they're definitely not out of the woods yet. Still at a deficit on the side of Sand Ninjas. And yes, they are on Soul Point now. But any of these fights can go either way. We've seen how close some of these fights honestly have been, and it took a miracle steal out of Swamp Wizard to get that Baron to keep his team alive, and they might need another miracle here because Mythic's still very strong. Let there be no mistake about it. They are still very strong, and they are still on the front foot. They have more towers up. They have more inhibitors, not anymore up, but they have only one inhibitor exposed versus all 3 are exposed. So if you, as Sand Ninjas, make any mistake is a game over at this point. You have no more lives. This is life 0 in your old Sega or N64 games. It is do or die in this game 1, and man, has it been a banger so far. 31 minutes, 45 kills.
Yeah, it's been an insane bloodbath between these two teams, and sadly, and luckily, Mythic Fabled still hasn't been able to break open this base a second time here. They've really had to deal with a lot of these waves that Sand Ninjas have been doing a good job of shoving out over and over again. We've kind of had a bit of a stalemate here, and we're getting to the point where this gold lead starting to not matter anymore. You know, we're getting into the 35, we're getting close to the 35-minute mark where, you know, some of these builds are going to be completely finished here, and this difference of 1.3 thousand gold is going to stop mattering eventually, and then it's going to come down to the power of some of these champions just by themselves. As now, man, this is a real close one here. We have Baron spawning in about a minute here. We have Hextech Drake spawning in about a minute and a half. That's going to be Soul for the Sand Ninjas here if they're able to win around Baron. Luckily, they don't have any waves pushing against them here, so there is no backdoor opportunity just yet. But this is going to be the next big fight because, like you said, if Sand Ninjas lose here, that's game over. There's nothing else that they can defend. There's nothing else they can do here. So This is a do or die moment for Sand Ninjas here in game one.
Yep, but top and bottom waves are pushing in favor of Mythic, so they do have that advantage. But it looks like Sejuani gets caught out, but getting that dash to get on out of here. So it's now just about positioning for your objectives. You notice that Mythic has a lot more vision on bottom side of the map for that dragon, but they've also done a good job of clearing out Sand Ninja's vision around the Baron buff. So they kind of have control right now in this vision game and might be looking for a pick here. They got the Ash Arrow onto his ear and they're flashing in. They're going for that
Yeah.
fight.
Yeah, that's going to be the Emperor's Divide. It's going to stabilize that for just a little bit longer. Wang Badang has been taken pretty low, but Olazi has as well. So if this is an even trade, I think you take it here. Both ultimates have been used as well. There's 2 ultimates down, 2 and 3 respectively here is now. Blue team has been spotted in this bush here, and they're looking for the engage. Panda Lover looking for a little bit closer, going to pull Master Roshi in. Glacial Fissure is going to be the response here. Swamp Wizard is going to be dove on top of it. Olazi is really low. Hilsey is going to be not going to be able to finish off that kill as they're find 2 for Mythic. This is what they've been waiting for. They're taken down, shut down for the victor as well. Hilsey is going to be the next target, stunned up by Sejuani. Dav G is now the only damage dealer left, but immediately melted by Madame Lolo here. And this is what they've waited for. We said that they had 0 more lives in this game of Super Mario, and now they only have nothing left but to watch do 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 do. Game over. Mythic Fabled is going to be picking up game number 1 in this best of 5.
What an absolute banger start to finish. But ladies and gentlemen, look at that Ash. Absolutely smashing. Having perfect spacing in that last fight, and critically in the fight, the preamble to that final fight, Swamp Wizard's ult had to be blown on the disengage, getting away from their original dive that Mythic had set up. So does not have that durability anymore for the re-engage of the fight, where again, you had the peel from Master Roshi to be able to allow this 4-item Ash to just free fire and melt these tanks and the front line from the side of Sand Ninjas. So such a great start, such a great game here on the Style Esports Finals. And that's just one game, ladies and gentlemen. Grab your popcorn, refill your beverages, because there's another couple games coming our way. And oh man, it's going to be so exciting.
Yeah, we're going to take just a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to be in picks and bans of game number 2 of Mythic Fabled versus Sand Ninjas. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after this. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Style Esports. My name is Shinkari. I'm joined here by Basket of Knives, and here we are in picks and bans of game number 2 of Sand Ninjas versus Mythic Fabled. We've swapped sides, so Sand Ninjas on the blue side, Mythic Fabled's on the red, and we are ready to get this game 2 underway. Basket, are you ready?
Oh yeah, I'm ready. Banger game one. If you did not catch it, definitely watch this. Definitely watch the VOD of this stream back when it's all said and done. But we are in the midst of the game two draft. Sand Ninjas with a Volibear and Pantheon ban, and the Yumi and Udyr on the side of Mythic Fable so far on the ban. So far, staying with a lot of the same bans that we saw in the previous game.
Yeah, looks like the Sand Ninjas are deciding to get rid of the Karthus ban here and go for the Sejuani instead. And then the Hecarim is going to stand still for Mythic here, not opting to change any of their bans from the previous game here. So this is where we're going to see a lot of the changes. The Sand Ninjas here are going to use that first pick to pick Karthus for themselves here. Now this is a counter pick away from Mythic Fabled. We do have their mid laner has been opting for a lot of Karthus games recently. So just getting a bit of that comfort off of their off the board for them. Mythic Fabled here, really in the driver's seat, going to be able to pick up a couple of picks for themselves. Sivir and what are we looking for? Number 2, Lulu. All right.
All right, so yeah, Mythic Fable going back to a lot of what the standard what you're seeing in the pro scene, the Sivir, Lulu, Zeri, Renata, Yumi, kind of the standard bread and butter. So you got good late game insurance in the bottom lane here for the side of Mythic Fable. But yeah, very aggressive pick here that was originally the ban from Sand Ninjas, but now also trying to index into it. And that Karthus can be played in a lot of different positions depending on the team that you're looking for. It can be played jungle, mid, bot, on either the carry or the support role, but looking like where they're going once again back to that misfortune, relying on the early game power that they had there. And we'll see if they try to round out their bottom lane here before the end of first phase or show a little bit more of what they plan to do with this Karthus.
Yeah, I mean, this is such a good pickup for. I'm still on the fence about the Karthus pick here. I mean, it. So I guess the information that they're using here is Olazi basically played 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 out of their past 10 games over the past couple of days on Karthus here. 56 games here, 59% win percentage here. But it's not exactly their most played champion, and based on their past 10 games, not exactly, a pretty solid win rate, I'd say either. It's like nothing to write home about. It's like 60% out of 5. And maybe the Sand Ninjas are overvaluing it. Maybe I just don't completely understand. But this card has been pretty scary for the Sand Ninjas here, that they really don't want to see it played through here.
Yeah, I mean, it's a matter of, they're now playing the trade-off game of one having been on now being on blue side versus red side. You get that first pick, and Sejuani was first pick last game. What do? They banned Sejuani out. They now pick the Karthus, which was their first ban last game. So we'll see which is supreme. If Sanders goes down 0-2, then maybe you have to ban both, and maybe the Volibear or the Pantheon makes its way through, or you ban neither and you pick one versus the other. But we'll see. But a third pick of the Maokai, again, that can go in jungle or top. I would expect it to be top, as that'd be a pretty safe kind of top laner for Mythic Fable to utilize, but we'll see. They did ban out 2 more top laners, so that does give me an inkling that they are going for the top lane, having banned out the both Aatrox and Darius. But you have a Victor ban coming in, so that might also tell me that that's a Karthus mid that we're looking at here.
Mm-hmm. I mean, the thing is that like you said, Karthus is still a relatively flexible ban, or a relatively flexible pick. So even though we see the Karthus locked in here, man, it's it's just it's just not exactly. I'm not still not quite sure where it's going, but I think Sand Ninjas are still leaving it up to us to kind of decide where it's going here. So
Yep, and we'll get to kind of see, there's going to be this next pick here for the side of Mythic Fable is going to either be a top laner or a mid laner, presumably, or the jungler if we're doing the Maokai top. And it looks like that's what we're doing, unless we're getting some weird Levi, Gigabyte Marines Nocturne mid stuff. We are seeing a Nocturne jungle.
Yeah, I mean Nocturne is pretty good. I'd say like as we get into more coordinated play, like that paranoia becomes such a very strong ultimate. And I think it's really good when paired with Maokai as well. Restricting your vision and then having Nature's Grasp come from so far out of vision is insanely powerful.
Hmm.
So just having that together is really, really strong as well. So a really good 5v5 coordinated ultimate. Nocturne really, really good here for Mythic Fabled here, in my opinion. Oh,
Oh,
excuse
absolutely. And
me.
also, you get to see that they need something to get on this Soraka because Soraka's your healing battery. If you don't blow the Soraka up right away, she's gonna keep healing
Hmm.
everybody out there. And we've got a Set and a Jarvan. So the top jungle is the Set Jarvan combo with a Karthus as the mid laner. So they do provide that counter pick over to the side of Mythic, and we'll see what they try to pick up to round out this very heavy team fight composition. We'll see what they do as this
Mm.
final pick here.
Yeah, Lux was an interesting hover. Ziggs as well. Once again, a couple good, like, very long range ultimates that can be paired well with the Paranoia. And it looks like Ziggs is going to be the last lock in for Mythic Fable. So, not as tanky as their previous composition here, but definitely still very much pretty dangerous and very proactive as well. Being able to, once again, throwing Ziggs Bomb from outside vision, from restricting your vision as well, is going to make it hard to truly answer it as well. So a lot of interesting picks here from Mythic Fable. The Karthus for Sand Ninjas, just a bit of a comfort pick for Wang Badang in the mid lane there. So we'll see how this game plays out. I'm definitely liking both of these teams so far. What is your opinion on these kind of on these team comps?
So both these teams have a lot of strengths and a lot of drawbacks. So if you look at the side of Mythic Fable, who again is ahead in the series, they are saying we will take you 5v5. We will fight you as necessary in a 5v5 team fight. You have a lot of AoE with Maokai, with Sivir, with Ziggs to say, we'll fight you straight up. And the majority of their team, 3/5 of the side of Sand Ninjas, wants to be in their face. Karthus wants to be inside the team. Zet, Jarvan, they want to be inside the team. So it actually plays a little bit into what Mythic Fable wants their team composition to do, and they have the power to dive and blow up the squishy backline of Soraka and Misfortune. But on the other side, for Sand Ninjas, they want to jump in on somebody. Sivir is immobile. If you don't have flash on Sivir, if you don't have flash or bomb or satchel charge on Ziggs, a J4 ultimate with a Misfortune ultimate is gonna kill you. A Set
Hmm.
ulting a Maokai into your backline, it's gonna kill you. A Karthus with the ult over the top, it's gonna kill you. So
Hmm.
it is again kind of this battle of execution of both teams are playing to the strength of their composition, but they both can kind of work to counter each other depending on execution.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I definitely agree a lot. I think once again, Jarvan, you already pointed out Jarvan Misfortune. I mean, that's a tale as old as time, right? For as long as those two champions have been in the game together, that combo has all Cataclysm plus Bullet Time has always been an insanely powerful combo. And like you said, Karthus over the top. If you don't die to that combo, you're dying to Karthus as well. So, a lot of how this game is going to play out might come down to how this laning phase is played, right? We saw even in the early bits of the laning phase there, Sand Ninjas get a big lead, and Mythic Fable being able to turn it around and gain a lead through it. But even so, this game is still pretty close. I mean, that game one was still really, really close. It came down to the wire. So we might even have a similar game on our hands this time around.
Oh, absolutely. And I think if you look at game one, if you're Sand Ninjas, what you're saying in your post game and your pregame is, guys, we were a little bit too trigger happy. We made some sloppy plays. You know, you can recall that top dive they had, a little bit over pressure on the bottom lane to give Madame Lolo 3 kills early on the Ash when you're already ahead a couple thousand. You know, there were a lot of little things that they made mistakes on that they're going, okay, guys, we can chalk this up to user error. We messed up, but we can win this. So that's why they're confident in saying, we're going to run the misfortune back. We're
Mhm.
going to play this way. They're still saying, we want Dave G to be the big carry of our team and play around him. So I'm expecting them to still play around bottom lane, and I want to see if they can sure up the ship from some of those mistakes so far they've had and just see what they can do. Now, in terms of their composition, what I would like to say is I kind of wish they played Renata instead of Soraka because
Mhm.
what's more deadly than a J4 MF combo? J4 MF Renata.
Yeah.
Those 3 ultimates are absolutely disgusting. I can confirm, played that in solo queue a lot of the times. It is it should be illegal is
Yeah.
kind of the way I coined that one a little bit. That's if you trap somebody in there, everybody dies.
Yeah. It really is a good, and I think that Renata still slots into the idea of what you're looking for in this team as well. Like Soraka is just there to keep Misfortune alive, right? Like that's her whole job, right? She's not healing Karthus. She's going to be too far away from Jarvan or Set sometimes in order to heal them. She's meant to stay back and make sure that Misfortune is able to stay relatively safe, get a good ultimate across, and then live for the rest of the fight, right? Renata still fills this gap like pretty easily as well, and not to mention that with her ultimate to turn people into zombies for a little bit, like that means that Misfortune, even if she dies and even if she's not able to get a kill afterwards, she still has that longer period of time to get kills in order to deal damage for the team in order to finish off the rest of the team as well. So I definitely agree, but we got the Soraka here. Still a relatively powerful pick. We saw it played in I believe the LEC finals as well, and you know was countered exactly by this Nocturne as well. So we'll have to see how this plays out. We're going to take just a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to be on the rift of game number 2 of Sand Ninjas versus Mythic Fabled. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after this. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Style Esports. My name is Shinkari. I'm joined by Basket and Ives, and here we are on the rift of game number 2 of Mythic Fabled versus the Sand Ninjas. Sand Ninjas are on the blue side. Mythic Fabled's on the red. We got ourselves a 5-point start, and we're ready to get game number 2 underway. Basket, are you ready?
Oh, yeah, we are ready. Got that last drink of water on the break. We are good to go, and the battle lines have been drawn. Again, a very banger first game here, but looks like both the teams are now saying, "All right, game one jitters out of the way. We've played a little loose. Now let's tighten up the tie a little bit. Let's button up the shirt. Keep it all composed here, and
Mm-hmm.
let's get ourselves going here for a nice, good, solid game two. I'm expecting a lot less aggression out of both teams because I think both teams are now kind of shaking a little bit after the first game to say, all right, we gotta not take too many risks or we can cost our team this game.
Yeah, for sure. Is now we got some pretty standard starts across the board here. We do have opposite starts for the junglers here, so we have both of them starting on the both of their respective reds are going to be pathing upwards and downwards. So Nocturne going to be showing up to this bot lane like we predicted. Want to have that Sivir popping off, and we're going to have Jarvan pathing up towards this top lane to help out this set in the Maokai matchup.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense with how you kind of want to play the early game. The set's going to be more heavily indexed to win, and the Sivir Lulu can actually be pretty taxing on Misfortune and Soraka early if you manage to land the poke correctly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, not to mention that Master Roshi. Ooh, wait a minute. They've gotten the level 2 here. They might be in a little bit of trouble here. Slowed down, silenced as well. Gonna be able to keep Hilsey off of them for just a little bit, but look at that poke damage already on a Master Roshi.
Yep, some real big poke damage off them. Interestingly enough, Madame Lolo did not went for the boomerang bling early, not the bouncing blades. The bouncing blades actually is probably your best level 1 tool as Sivir because it just is unmatched damage and range that you have on those first 2 waves before you hit level 2. But you already have a lazy coming on down looking for a very early gank here on level 3.
Yeah, and he's got a pretty good setup for him as well as Madame Lolo coming in. Gonna get that shield for them as well. Dave G's in a little bit of trouble here. Gonna pop that movement speed. Ghost as well. Hilsey flashes, and that's going to be the blue team out of there, spending so much. All of their summoner spells, and it's not good enough. Madame Lolo picks up first blood.
Sticking around a little bit too much. If you're Hills, you turned around. When you had a way out, you could have just walked away, but staying a little bit too long, and it cost you 4 summoner spells for just 1. All Madame Lolo blew was the ghost and still walks away with that first blood and the call. So you're already stacking up extra gold, extra damage, and you're out of pots on the side of Sand Ninjas.
Yeah, I mean, that's got to be the biggest blow to you as well, right? They didn't start with any sort of big offensive item here. They started with a cull. And so because of that, now they're in such an awkward position. And because of this dual red start and because of the push on the top wave here, Swamp Wizard is actually losing a lot of tempo here. Look, he has to path all the way down to the bottom here in order to pick up Krugs because he couldn't gank the top, he couldn't gank mid, and there was no jungle camps to pick up on the red side either. So now he has to bat all the way to the bot lane here. Has to spend a little bit more time in the jungle when Jarvan really wants to be ganking around this time.
Yeah, and Gachu's actually got a great wave stacking up here, and while Set's going to be able to clear a lot of it out, was not able to get the wave to crash, so was able to really take his time. And while you did not have to burn the teleport if you're on the side of Panda Lover, you now also get to have your ideal back with a little bit more minion gold if he looks to go with that back, but also prevented the gank from the side of Swamp Wizard because you let Set push into you. You weren't going to be ganking that Maokai early.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, this is such a good start for Mythic Fabled here. They've got some jungle tempo. They've got some good lanes for them as well. And this is they've got first blood. Like there's a lot to line up well for them in these first few minutes.
Oh yeah, definitely a lot to line them up well, but we have seen before the team ahead early has not always been able to close things out later. That first Mountain Dragon coming up, I do not expect any team to go for that early, as that is one of the toughest dragons to kill early on. We do have Nocturne poking around here in the top lane, but he's spotted on a ward.
Yeah, we're probably not going to see a gank anytime soon, but got you. Okay, uses the Nature's Advance here, gets hit by the Haymaker. Swamp Wizard is coming in through the jungle here. Flags and drags forward. And trying, not going to be able to find anything just quite yet. So they're going to have to back away on that top lane, though. So, yeah, we're just going to keep our eyes down on this bottom lane for a little bit longer. As, once again, both these teams still trying to gather just a little bit better of a position.
Yep, again, like we had said earlier, a lot more composed game, a little bit less aggression. A lot of these teams are the focus on both these teams is scaling. It's your level 6 spikes. We have contention over this first. Scuttle up here. Swamp Wizard forced to flash away to avoid the Mega Inferno Bomb.
Yeah, you might have to flash here if he wants to find the Swamp Wizard, so not going to be able to do it, but Alazi does a good job of scaring away Jarvan from this top half of the map. I think he might be going to look for him again. Alazi is really hunting down Jarvan here. Oh, it's really close, but Wang Badang is nearby. Olazi not wasting any time. Swamp Wizard so low, cannot contest this. Here comes Panda Lover, is level 6. Spell Shield is popped over the wall. Now Gotchu's in some trouble here. Has to 1v3. Olazi flashes back over the wall. Wang Badang in the middle there, but Nature's Grasp going to come across, going to be able to find one kill for themselves. Here comes the Requiem. It's going to slam down, but no kill just quite yet, but a double kill for the Ziggs here. Puts them 2 kills in the lead as there's the Sapling. Doesn't have the damage. And the shield is going to keep him alive for just a little bit longer. But I think Maokai is going to continue to try to stop that back.
Yeah, definitely will try to do it until he's out of mana, but very well played on the side of Mythic to be able to get those kills. But again, came at the cost of many summoners. They both, Got You and Alazi, both flashed over the wall to be able to jump in and kind of get those kills. So spending a lot of those summoners, we'll see if that's going to matter in the duration of those cooldowns, and if we can get some comeback from Zen Ninjas, if they can utilize that summoner spell advantage to make a play later.
Yeah, I mean, we have seen the comeback potential from both of these teams here, so I don't think it's super far-fetched to see maybe a bit of a comeback from the Sand Ninjas here. But, you know, we've seen so many good coordinated plays from the from Mythic Fabled here that, you know, I don't want to count them out just yet. It's got you doing a good job of kiting these minions away from the turret here to give them just a little bit more time.
Yep, and also just doing a very good job on the Maokai to make sure he's staying pretty even in farm. After he collects all that, he will be even, if not ahead, in farm on the set, which is kind of a tough thing to do if you are the Maokai playing defensively here, but playing very much to his strengths and advantages, has some early sustainability as well as that early extra AoE damage with the with the part for his Mythic. So he's just getting there, and we have a first dragon fight coming up here.
Paranoia coming across, diving onto Jarvan, not going to be able to steal the dragon, but does pick up the kill for themselves. Is now... Ooh, yeah. Actually, no. They don't pick up the Swamp Wizard is the one picking up the kill onto Alazi there. A bit of a misplay there. That's going to be Cataclysm coming on to Mount Lolo here. Does have that flash available, but I think they're just accepting their death at this time around. Nowhere to go. They're going to go down. And that's 2 kills over to the side of Swamp Ninjas there. Or Sand Ninjas, rather. Sorry. Excuse me.
Yeah, we got the Swamp Wizard on the Sand Ninjas and gets the kill, gets the dragon, secures the other kill as well onto Madame Lolo. She definitely could have flashed out of there. I'm not sure why she held that flash, but just decided it's not worth it.
I guess.
Yeah,
I mean
that
is the ability you save flash for, right? Cataclysm and bullet time?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like, you
Yeah.
had about 2 seconds after he landed the Cataclysm before the Soraka Silence came in, so you could have easily just said, I'm out. He had already burned EQ plus the ult. Nothing else stops you, but I guess made the choice to say, you know what, I'm going to save this flash for later. I think I'm going to need it later. So we'll see if having that ability later is going to pay off more dividends. But we already have them going in, Mythic going in for an early Rift Herald here, and just looking to see what they can get. A lot of great pushing power. Again, if you leave Sivir alone a little bit, you're going to get a tower. If you leave Ziggs alone for a little bit, he is the demolition specialist. You will get a tower. So getting that early Rift Herald will be very critical with getting this plate gold and accelerating the already very well established 1.5k gold lead.
Yeah, I mean that's something I don't think we really touched on a whole lot on the during picks and bans, but the siege potential for Mythic Fabled is through the roof, right? Like, they have such good wave clear in almost every single lane, and they have a Ziggs on the team as well. It's going to be so tough in order if they get a lead to deal with this late game, especially with a Baron as well.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of siege potential and also a lot of, you know, counter espionage, if you will. Just with the Maokai being able to throw saplings in every bush, you're just basically going to prevent any sort of wraparound gank from the set or the Jarvan wanting to come in and on a flank. So you can safely siege later in the game if you do have that lead.
Yeah, it is going to be something to keep our eyes on. You know, the lead isn't so much that we can start talking with certainty that that's going to happen later in the game, right? But this is definitely going to be something to keep our eyes on as Rift Herald popped in the mid lane there to help unlock the Ziggs. That's going to be the satchel charge. Finding the kill there is now Swamp Wizard forced to flag and drag their way out of there. So not going to be able to find any kills here, but now Hilsey in some trouble here. Madame Lolo looking for the kill. There's going to be the Boomerang Blade across. They got the Wild Growth. They got the Whimsy. They got the Ghost, but they're still not quite have enough damage in order to finish off that kill as well. Lazi coming into this bottom lane does have Paranoia available. Hilsey hugging this turret like it's a horror movie. And yeah, they're going to be able to be safe this time around.
Yep, they had to play that so safely though on the back end though, because you have the threat of the Nocturne Dive as well as the Ziggs Mega Inferno Bomb. But it looks like WCat is on a killing spree, taking Wang Badang to the grave.
Yeah. As yeah, that's a pretty easy kill. I wasn't expecting that too much myself, but dang. I mean, that's a really good amount of gold for Ziggs themselves as this game continues to spin into much bigger favor for Mythic here. As yeah, this just another one.
Yeah, already completing the Luden's Tempest as well as building up towards what I would likely assume is going to be a Shadow Flame second item. Huge spikes here on this Zig so far. 3-0, up about 2 waves, and looking to impact now, roaming down to bottom lane, looking to impact this tower. You got about a minute and a half left on plates, and you want to try to get as much as possible if you're on the side of Mythic, especially with this dragon coming up here in about 40 seconds.
Yeah, and now got you in some trouble as that's the flag and drag coming across the ups. The knockup is good. That's going to be the showstoppers. Got you trying to get their way out of here. They need to flash and face breaker here. There's the flag and drag. There's the cataclysm, but that's the flash in response here as WCat down in the bottom lane throws out the Mega Inferno Bomb, but still does not find the kill onto Dav G there either. A bunch of ultimates spent across the map, but still a wash on both ends.
Yeah, close back and forth fights here. Summoner spells and ultimates expended, and you do have that dragon about to come on up. Looks like there's still a very strong inside track on the side of Mythic. Very low with Hills. He's not going to be able to provide too much more support here. It looks like Swamp Wizard might just get caught out.
Yeah, that's going to be the Polymorph and the Paranoia as well. It comes down a little too soon. Can use that flag and drag, but they're flashing for it. Swamp Wizard's still really low. They flash again. Olazi's going to be the one picking up that kill. They're not even looking at the Drake right now. They're looking at the tier 2 mid.
Yeah, and rightfully so. You already have Karthus all the way down here in the bot lane, so you've got nothing to prevent you from being able to take this tower. And Sivir already with Kraken Slayer and with Berserker Greaves, so much attack speed to be able to just melt through these towers. And yeah, it looks like they might even try to go for a tower dive here on the bottom outer turret here.
Yeah, they have to be careful. They do have that Wild Growth available. Madame Lolo's leading the charge here. That's going to be the star call coming across. Bullet time looking for the kill on the WCat, but they're not going to be able to get it this time. Going to be able to pick up the second kill. Madame Lolo receives the Wild Growth, lives by just the skin of their teeth. Only 45 HP to their name. And now, oh my gosh, the Requiem plus the turret almost taking them down there, but another successful dive in this game as well. Now catapulting themselves 5.9 thousand gold in the lead, 6.1 thousand rather, but dang, what an early game from Mythic here.
Oh, absolutely. This is exactly what Mythic wanted to have as their early game. This is almost identical to the early game power that actually Sand Ninjas had in game 1. So now the script has been flipped a little bit. And we're not even able to get the dragon if you're on the side of Sand Ninjas right now. Like, you were hoping that maybe with such low health bars, they'd get the recall and you'd go for the dragon, but not even willing to take that risk. They're feeling like they are too far behind to even try to risk doing that dragon on spawn, and just trying to salvage the little bit they can of camps and wards and maybe trying to get some pressure, but it's only going to get worse as you scale into mid and late game with these really good late game long range carries.
Yeah, Vix has used the Mega Inferno Bomb, and they use the plan to sweep out the dragon, so they know the blue team is kind of in the area, but they know that they're not on top of it just quite yet. Sivir is pathing her way up into this top half of the map here. That's going to be the Twisted Advance. That's going to be knockback as well. Showstopper going to pull Got You underneath the turret as Panda Lover is going to be able to get to escape here. It's now Madame Lolo is going to be the one shoving in the waves here. Panda Lover, I don't think you're going to be able to survive against 2 more members of the red team showing up.
And I'm already getting that other inner tower, the bottom lane inner tower. That is the name of the game. If you are a Ziggs player, you take tower, you go to the next lane that has a tower for you to take. But they do manage to grab that second dragon on the side of Sandages. They do have that dragon soul stack potential right now as we get into an infernal map, but Swamp Wizard might get caught out here again.
Yeah, he does. That Nightmare Cloud is him, but here comes Nature's Grasp. This is huge. Wangbadang's got nowhere to go. 2 rooted up. Looks like they're not using that as an engage just quite yet. Sivir has finally shown up, and take a look at what Ziggs is doing. Down to this bottom lane, immediately uncontested. Ziggs just takes 2 turrets down there.
Just Ziggs things, everyone. Just Ziggs things. I mean, he's
I
already
think he
got
gets out of this too. I think he's fine.
He probably does. He's got to watch his mana a little bit, though, to make sure that he does not blow his satchel prematurely. Uses the flash into the satchel to get on out. Barely surviving. I'm not sure if that satchel was intended initially to actually be for that escape, or if you want to try to do it just to prevent the misfortune ultimate, but he can say it was all planned if he wants to, because he's the one getting away from it, and Madame Lolo's looking to hunt down Wangbadang.
Yeah, Wangbadang. Oh, might actually be able to turn this around. Oh, really good spell shield there, but now Madame Lolo's got nowhere to go. Wangbadang's going to be able to pick up that revenge kill with the Requiem. Going to finally put themselves onto the scoreboard, picking up that Archangel staff to boot. Grabs a couple of, grabs the ghost from Madame Lolo as well. So not exactly too bad if you're at this stage with the Karthus.
Yeah, at this point you are behind, so trading 1 for 1 on any case is always going to be better. And, you know, gets you a kill on the board, gets you your second item, so you already have the upgrade Archangel staff into the Seraphs, and it's not a bad thing. Again, you scale very well late game too. Both these teams index very heavily into the later stages of the game, but you do have to watch out. Already, Madame Lolo with the Collector as the second item, WCAT with the Shadow Flame and components for a Zanya's Hourglass. Such huge spikes, and all the tankiness. Look at the Lulu here. Master Roshi being the forehead master here now, just playing smartly, going, I need to be a tank. I need to make sure my team can survive. So what am I going to do? I'm going to build Locket. I'm going to build Locket of on Solari just to make sure that I can shield my team from a Karthus ultimate and a Misfortune ultimate. It's actually quite smart.
Okay, here we go. Paranoia coming across here. Mega Inferno Bomb coming onto Karthus as well. The ultimate hasn't been popped, but it looks like it was just there to turn off the lights for that flank from the Wrath of Mythic here, as now they're looking for this top inner turret. Shelly has been popped. Here comes the Rift Herald. As the siege begins, tanking up that turret there. There's the charge. Doesn't even need the satchel charge in order to get that turret for themselves, but Shelly is still looking pretty low. Take a look at the bot lane as well. Maokai getting that good split. Here comes Shelly. They're trying to angle around here for that eyeball, and they're going to be able to grab it.
Yeah, so far just really well played on the side of Mythic, playing a very controlled game here in game 2, utilizing their advantages of their wave clear, of their pushing power. And I'm seeing in chat here, yeah, the Roshi 4-head master, I guess the meme's probably actually more 5-head is what it's supposed to be, but you know, utilizing the galaxy brain, utilizing the big brain, whatever you want to call it, I think it's a very smart adaptation to utilize Locket on enchanters like Lulu and Senna that can actually benefit very heavily from shielding.
Yeah. As does being bald count you as having a big forehead, or so do we call him the 5-head master?
I don't know. I would probably refer to someone like Azale or Kangas to provide the information onto where does their forehead end and where does the top of their head begin. But
Right.
I don't think we'll have to deal with that one today. But we do have a little bit of a contest around Baron. They do manage to peel Mythic off of that Baron. So actually quite critical because you do have the dragon coming up here in about 20 seconds, and you just wasted some of Mythic's time. And Sandage, you're coming back. You're getting yourself close to those next item spikes.
Yeah, this Baron is going to be pretty big for the Sand Ninjas here because there's a lot of easy towers for them to grab here. And it's not like they don't have good wave clear in themselves as well. They've got a Karthus, they've got a Misfortune, and they've got some pretty big power spikes for them on them as well. So these will be some pretty easy waves for them to clear. And, this is also an objective bounty as well. It's the same reason why they're hanging around this Infernal Drake right now. They
Yeah.
want to try to get back into this game. They're down 8,000 gold, and these objective bounties are the way back in.
Yeah, but critically, all members of Mythic do have their flashes available. So if we have a Jarvan
Ooh,
jumping in
yes.
here, he
Swamp
looks for
Wizard
the
goes
smite
in.
but does not get it.
Yeah, not going to be able to pick it up this time, but that's important because now the jungler's down. They're going all the way to Baron, but that's paranoia. They've caught out Misfortune maybe. They pop the Ghost. Mega Infernal Bomb goes down. They're not going to be able to secure that kill, but they get two instead. Nature's Grasp is still going. Here comes the Requiem coming across, but it's going to be spell shielded by their lowest health member there. And now they march all the way to Baron. 3 members down on the opposing team. This is easy peasy lemon squeezy here.
Yeah, Dave G, my man, what are you doing there, man? You got Wang Badang and Hilsey killed. You did not need to contest that wave. That was so greedy on his half, and now all they can do is probably watch this Baron die. But you might see Misfortune try to blow him up with that ultimate. We're gonna see if he goes for it
Yeah.
here.
Bullet time comes across, not going to be able to secure the Baron Nashor. That's going to be Showstopper getting got you off of Misfortune here, but still goes down. Cataclysm for the re-entry here, but Swamp Wizard goes down. Now Panda Lover is in some issues. That's going to be Nature's Advance there. Going to be able to find that. Going to be able to find that kill for them as well. 3 more kills for Mythic Fabled as they pick up their next objective. And now there's nothing left to do other than cash in that 6 gold, 2 objective worth of gold, and now march their way over to the blue team's base.
Yeah, it's a 12,000 gold lead after all those series of plays, and just such a huge advantage. The polymorph coming in for Master Roshi to stop Dave G's Misfortune ultimate, and it's just absolute disaster for the side of Sand Ninjas. They may have gotten the upper hand in the original upper bracket finals, but all that did was it just sent Mythic back into the hyperbolic time chamber. They got themselves powered up in the lower bracket finals, and it looks like they're reaching Super Saiyan levels at this point.
We're really going hard on the Dragon Ball references because Master Roshi, huh?
I feel like we have to. Like all I hear whenever there's a Master Roshi death, which there's not been this is just like Roshi.
Yeah. my
But
my
yeah.
students, make sure you live long and eat well. And then he does his like Mafuba or whatever. I don't remember.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I
But yeah,
watched Dragon Ball Super for 5 minutes.
the Tournament of Power definitely can recommend Tournament of Power.
Yeah,
Tournament
yeah,
of
yeah.
Power arc is a banger. But speaking
Yeah.
of which, this game is definitely a banger if you're a Mythic fan. If you're a Sandages fan, it's a bit of a slaughter. It looks like they're going in for
Yeah.
even more.
God, you might be in some trouble here underneath the turret being taken out by Sand Ninjas. That's going to be a good pick for them, but they still need to contend with the rest of the team here. They're down 13,000 gold, and that really only takes about maybe 7,000 off the table here. They're still down a bunch of stats, a bunch of gold. Might be only up a member. Swamp Wizard looking for the flank. Flash, flag, and drag Cataclysm. Huge. Madam Lola's going to be able to find a kill off of that, though. The red team is just melting through these HP bars. Such a great initiation by the blue team was just to set up for Mythic Fabled. Olazi is going to go down to the Requiem, but that's the only thing they're going to be able to get off of that. The ace is good. The W-Cat is still alive, and they're going to be able to take down these turrets with the Ziggs and the Lulu.
Operation Desperation from Swamp Wizard wanted to go on that mission, but he knew it was a one-way trip. You took the risk. You did get 3 kills off that. So not again, you're 14,000, 15,000 gold behind. You have to take these risks because every moment you wait longer to make a play, your percentage chance of winning is dwindling. So I respect them for taking that risk, going getting a couple of these kills, and they are getting closer to their item spikes here. Remember, they still have the 2 dragons to 1. They can still make Sola condition here. This next dragon's popping up in a minute, and we'll see if the Sand Ninjas decide to try to take another play, another swing at it. But you have a 6-0 Ziggs with Death Cap completed, a 3-item Sivir with Infinity Edge, so it's very dangerous territory.
Yeah, this is they have to pick their fights well, and we've seen them be able to do that in the past. This is not super far-fetched from Sand Ninjas to be able to play these kind of desperation plays really, really well. We've seen them steal Barons. We've seen them fight 4v5 and still come out on top, but oh no, Soraka Hilsey goes down to a stray Paranoia. Now Swamp Wizard in some trouble himself, as that's going to be on the hunt. Olazi is looking for him. Swamp Wizard's got nowhere to go. No flag and drag to save him this time as Madame Lolo picks up another kill, and now they're trying to turn it around. Good exhaust on a Sivir here, but let's see if they're looking for the rest of the engagement here. They're still looking for these movement speed. That's going to be Wang Badang going golden immediately. Olazi is going to stopwatch to answer, and now they're inside the Karthus. That's going to be this Requiem coming across the spell shield. Will be able to save them this time, but WCAT is so low. Showstopper is going to put him in the middle of the fight, take Ziggs down, but he follows with them. Hilsey now respawns, is the only member of Sand Ninjas left to defend against 4 members of Mythic Fabled, and now let's see if they're able to end the game. Okay,
It's Soraka
they're going to
versus
back
the
away.
world. Fear the banana. They always underestimate and do not expect the banana. But it looks like not going to have to defend too much with those bananas. But again, a good attempt, but got caught out early.
Yeah,
It looks like we
Nature's
have
a
another dive
twisted
here from
advance
Gachu.
here, looking for Swamp Wizard and Hilsey, but still not able to find the kill that they're looking for just quite yet. It was kind of a dual engage, because Swamp Wizard had also engaged onto Madame Lolo as well. So picking up the Infernal Drake on the back end here, going to use this opportunity to reset. They got Baron spawning in about a minute, and this is probably where we're going to see our next fight.
Yeah, and all the vision is in all favor of Mythic, and that's how Hilsey got caught out early, was sitting on vision, took the Mega Inferno Bomb from a 3-item Ziggs, which knocked her down to about 20-30% HP, and that just gave Olazi the go button to say, let's turn the lights off and let's put you to bed.
Yeah, and let's see. We have all the ultimates back available for the red team here. Bullet time, oh, excuse me, and Requiem are still down for a little bit longer here, but should be back up for the next big fight. They're still down 14,000 gold here, which is quite a hill to come back from, but we have seen them be successful in these kinds of desperation fights before, so don't count the Sand Ninjas out just yet.
Oh yeah, definitely cannot count them out yet, but it's getting tougher and tougher. That tightrope is getting thinner and thinner with each of these plays that they try to do, and it looks like they're already going in. They're going
Yeah,
once again.
Paranoia right on top of Soraka here, taking incredibly low. Flag and Drag is going to bring them to safety, but Olazi has already found the kill on the Panda Lover here as Madame Lolo looking for Wang Badang, but they still can't quite find him. They've peeled back as much as they can, but they've lost now the Baron. And take a look at the bottom lane. They are super minions shoving into their base. They have to answer this, or they have to answer the Baron. They can't half-ass it.
Yep, they are making their choice right now to say, you know what, we got to try to go for this Baron. They're going to take that risk. They know that Paranoia is down, and they are going to go for it, but it looks like they may not get anything.
Yeah, Olazi is on a killing spree here. Wang Badang looking for the kill onto Sivir here, but she's going to be able to get resurrected thanks to that Guardian Angel, so staying alive for just a little bit longer. Master Roshi is going to go down on the back end there, giving a double kill over to Wang Badang, but there's still 2 members of the red team still available here. 3 members total here as Ziggs marks is down over to this inhibitor. Take a look at the blue team base. These super minions have done so much work. WCAT might only have to sneakily walk up to one of this turrets, just press W and destroy it.
Yeah, another play where Sandage is just trying to swing for the fences because they've got, at this point, they got nothing to lose, and it actually does work, in my opinion, at this point in their favor. Your inhibitor that respawned got killed again. Great. You stop them from getting Baron. You're delaying this game, which is what you need at this point. You're approaching Death Cap if you're Karthus. You're approaching Infinity Edge if you're Misfortune. So you just need to get yourself those items, and then maybe you have a chance. So this is actually working with with what they want to do on the side of Sand Ninjas, delaying this game, because if you're Mythic, you need to be closing this thing out. Because if you wait for too long, eventually Karthus and Misfortune will be able to kill you.
Yeah. And now let's see where we're able to do this so far. We're looking at another play around the Baron buff here. Mythic Fabled already here at this objective. Doesn't look like doesn't look like Sand Ninjas has a lot in the tank in order to deal with this just quite yet. These ultimates are coming back online, so they do have this available for them here.
Yeah,
And a
critically,
lover,
no flash on Madame Lolo. If you manage to get on that Stiver, you will stick. So that's going to be what I'm expecting. Swamp Wizard and Panda Lover, they're going to be looking to get onto Sivir. You kill Sivir, you might have a chance. No,
mm-hmm.
no GA, no flash. You have yourself a shot, but they're going in.
Paranoia. Yeah, right on top of Misfortune here as Madame Lolo's able to find the kill onto Jarvan pretty easily here. Twisted advance onto Wangbadang. Gonna knock them closer to the team with that satchel charge. They're still looking for a little bit more. Karthus finally goes down. Madame Lolo is looking pretty low. Requiem coming across is gonna live through this thanks to that Lulu shield here. But now Panda Lover looking for the kill onto them, trying to use that showstopper, but not gonna be able to get close as the rest of the team peels backwards. These red HP bars are still pretty low. Both showstopper comes through. Haymaker not gonna be able to get it this time as now they're looking for Hilsey. They need to get that movement speed. They're not able to get on the hunt just quite yet, but they need to be careful because Dav G still has some damage. These HP bars is low as Soraka goes down 5-1. This might look like the end of the game here as WCAT, Madame Lolo, Master Roshi are pushing into the base, and Got You is just going to heal up and teleport back in. Swamp Wizard has respawned. Here we go. This is the moment for the Sand Ninjas desperation play that they're so good at. Cataclysm comes across here. They're going to be able to find the kill into Master Roshi, but Misfortune goes down to the back end there. Madame Lolo picks up the ace. Game number 2 goes over to Mythic Fabled.
And Mythic Fable takes us to match point on the backs of a absolutely massive Ziggs performance out of WCAT. Absolutely blew up Swamp Wizard and Dave G and Hilsey on the regular. Absolutely no chance they had once they could not get onto the Ziggs or Sivir. It was just they kept them at an arm's length. And we've got longer arms. You can't touch us.
Yeah, it's really looking it's looking pretty good for the for Mythic Fabled here. As you know, like you said, the last time these two teams met, it was a clean 2-0 for Sand Ninjas here, and now this is looking to be pretty good for Mythic Fabled coming into this match point here at 2-0. And you know, this is looking pretty dire straits for Sand Ninjas right now.
Yeah, definitely looking in some dire straits. We're going to see how they have to adapt here in game 3. But currently, all the power is on the side of the first place team of Mythic Fable. Went to the lower bracket, is now back here in Grand Finals, and is looking to get some sweet, sweet revenge onto the side of them versus Sand Ninjas. 2-0 currently. We'll get the correction there on the scoreboard here. 2-0 on the side of Mythic. Going into game 3, and we will see you all very soon for that game 3 here. It's do or die if you're on the side of Sand Ninjas.
Yeah, we'll be right back after this. And when we come back, we'll be in picks and bans of game number 3 of Sand Ninjas versus Mythic Fabled. It is the match point of the match of the rematch to remember. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after this. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Style Esports, and here we are in match point. Game number 3, Mythic Fabled up against the Sand Ninjas, here to maybe bring it home or maybe bring us into maybe a good old silver scrapes. As now, Mythic Fabled look to close out their 2-game win streak, take revenge over their previous loss to the Sand Ninjas in bracket, and now we got the last game underway. My name is Shinkari. I am joined by Basket on Knives, and if you're joining us for the first time, this is a real close match. Mythic Fabled and Sand Ninjas here, really close, and it's down to the wire with this last game. Maybe
Yep,
last game.
coming in right now, Mythic Fable. Very close game in game one with that win, and then kind of honestly a slaughter in game two. So we're gonna see what draft adaptations we see here. Same bans are across the board on the side of Mythic Fabled each game so far of Yumi, Udyr, and Hecarim. And now swapping out the Sejuani ban that they had in game two and going for that Sivir ban. Also, unleashing the Volibear. So now Volibear is going to be available if anybody wants to take it. Mythic Fable going back to that tried and true Sejuani first pick that they coveted in game one. So we'll see what they can do. I'm expecting an early bottom lane pick out of the Sanders if they're already going to prioritize the ban away from Sivir. But a good Ornn is a great counter pick. Honestly, into Sejuani is just a tankier iteration of it. So you could even
Mm-hmm.
go Ornn Trundle if you want to in this first 1-2 as the Trundle as the takeaway from the side of Mythic Fable to give you a little bit more tankiness and prevent Trundle from sapping away those stats off Ornn.
Yeah, and you'll have a lot more stats to siphon off of Ornn as well for the Trundle here. So this is a really important pick for the Sand Ninjas. And yep, there it is. We're gonna lock in the Trundle here, and that is that's to counter up the Sejuani here. So still a lot of good picks on the table for Mythic Fabled here in order to deal with that Ornn. Sivir might not be on the table, but there's still a lot of really good AD carries for Mythic Fable to lock in here if they're looking to lock in their AD carry in this first round.
Yeah, we will see. They might even just go back to their tried and true what they did in game one. They might run back almost the same comp, the Braum. They could just pick the Wukong here or pick the Ashe, depending on what they're feeling. But right now, it's a mirror match of game one if you're on the side of Mythic, and so we'll see what they try to pick here. I think Braum
Mm-hmm.
is still a good pick. Also works to counter the Ornn ultimate, and looks like we're probably just going to get that Ashe lock in, and then again a very great aggressive laning option early on with all those slows.
Yeah, Freljord favoritism as the 5 of the first round picks here are all from the Freljord here. As Braum is actually really good against the Ornn, being able to block R1 and R2. So that's a really good pickup here and should be good to counter the misfortune that Sand Ninjas has been putting so much favoritism on here. But with the Lulu lock in, I don't know if it's going to be a misfortune pickup this time.
No, I don't think it will be, and I think maybe they're picking the Lulu because they're saying we want to pick this, and maybe they're trying to bait the misfortune ban from Mythic Fable, but I doubt they're gonna go. I doubt they're gonna take that bait because they've been able to beat the Misfortune both times so far. Zeri is gonna be your next best ban that you have versus the Lulu, and you could probably even either ban out a Twitch or a Jinx if you wanted to, again, try to get rid of some of this potential hyper carry that they have with the Lulu, or even if they want to go even riskier. I don't know what the depth of the pool of Dave G is, but Kog'Maw as well could be a very strong pick with this Lulu.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're seeing the Zeri ban here. This is definitely a good ban to go away with the Lulu here. But once, like you said, there's still a lot of good picks to be paired with this Lulu here. And, you know, I do still like the Lulu against what Mythic Fable just kind of drafted here. Having that polymorph available for that Sejuani here is going to be very important. Jinx going to be banned away here. And that is definitely a good ban as Kog'Maw. That's what we are looking for. That's another tale as old as time. You know, Cataclysm Misfortune, Cataclysm Bullet Time was one thing, but Lulu Kog'Maw is another tale as old as time here. A good old season 3 comp right there as Sand Ninjas locks in their AD carry.
Yeah, and Kog'Maw is another again one of those really great late game scaling picks, and if you can peel for it, you get a Juggermaw combination, you could be good to go. And they Sand Ninjas the past couple times in game one they banned out the Orianna. I could potentially see them going for an Orianna here to say we're playing protect the Cog. Everything's
Yeah.
all in on the Kog'Maw here, but we'll see what they get here. They do get the counter pick mid, as Nocturne is another great champion coming out looking to dive on the side of Mythic Fabled.
Yeah, we already have 2 mid lane bans for Sand Ninjas here, so Lux is going to be the last lock-in for Mythic Fabled. I definitely like this kind of Lux, as half support, half mage kind of champion that does have a long range ultimate that can be used alongside Paranoia here. This is a really, really good lock-in for Mythic Fabled in my opinion. Right? Does kind of fill the same slot as kind of like a middle ground between Ziggs and Victor here. A long range ultimate to pair with the Paranoia, as well as another support in quotes for the Ashe as well. As Xerath is going to be the final lock in for Sand Ninjas here.
And have not seen a Xerath in quite some time, but not unwelcomed here. That's going to be some good long range damage from both sides of the rift here. But yeah, it'll be very interesting to see kind of where they go with this. I'm interested very specifically with the build path that Kog'Maw goes. When I follow some of the higher end AD carries, I have actually been seeing a lot more focus on Bork, Hurricane, or Titanic, and
Mm-hmm.
then you go into a Rift Maker actually for a
Mm.
lot of extra damage off of champions like Varus, Cog, and Twitch. So that on hit can be very strong. I'm curious to see what they will pull out of here, but at this point for Sand Ninjas, it is do or die. You
Yeah.
are on life zero every single game from this point forward, so you've got to be willing to take those risks. You got to be confident in your gameplay, and we'll see if they can take on this pressure and mount a comeback, or if, like Kog'Maw's passive, they're just gonna burst under that pressure.
Yeah, and it's really important to watch. I would like to see if like there was a ye old build. Excuse me. There was a I don't know how much ye old it is now, but the old build of Wit's End plus Randuin's Omen on Kog'Maw in order to survive a lot of these late game kind of divey comps, especially against the Nocturne here, might actually be kind of useful. Go for like a if they went for excuse me, a I'm blanking on the Mortal Shield Bow. There it is. A Mortal Shield
Hmm.
Bow into Randuin's into Wit's End, and you just try to live as best you can with a bunch of resistances and defensives and try to turn it around. But that I don't think a lot of folks go for that kind of build anymore on the Kog'Maw, as I can see here. But it is still on the table, and I personally would like to see it.
Yeah, it's definitely a possibility. I would suspect they will likely look for um, going for more of a poke style build, just due to the lack of mobility from most of the champions on the side of Mythic Fabled. I would expect Sand Ninjas to kind of try to say, all right, you guys have to have your dancing shoes on at all points in time, or we will just blow you up with the long range abilities from Cog and Xerath. But we shall see, because also if they do go down that route, then they will lack in physical damage. So you might be right with them going down the physical damage route with something like an Immortal Shield Bow or Kraken Slayer into Bork, but I will expect a Blade of the Rune King as the first item out of Kog'Maw. That's pretty standard at this point for champions like Cog, Twitch, and Varus. So
Yeah.
we'll see what they end up doing with it. But again, if you're Cog Lulu, you just got to survive early game. Do not give away early kills. If you have to give up a bit of lane pressure, if you've got to do a little bit of a bad reset, it's better than dying at this point. Because if you fall behind to an Ash Braum like this, you're never going to come back. Mythic Fable has shown that if they take hold of a game, they for the most part can hold on to that lead and have rarely let it go. And their team's just going to be very strong at diving Coast 6. You just have to try to survive and scale up.
Yeah. It's really going to be important to the Sand Ninjas now more than ever, right? They've gotten full ham into that late game composition here. Trundle is going to be helping them kind of stem the bleeding in this early game, helping Ornn get to level 13, start passing out those ornaments, and really get this Kog'Maw into big cog territory, right? That Juggermaw composition, right? And really, the only question mark for me is this Xerath pick, right? It's not exactly a big defensive champion. It's another kind of big backline artillery champion to go long range into these fights. But when you're up against a Nocturne, I don't know how successful the Xerath is going to be. But I feel like if Nocturne is diving onto Xerath, you're probably a okay, right?
Yeah, at this point, it's kind of what you have to the risk you have to take. At the same time, they do have a Lulu, so if Nocturne jumps in, it's wild growth into polymorph. Nocturne's not going to hit for a little bit, and he just might get eaten alive by
Right.
by the Trundle and the Ornn. So we'll see what they can do. I think that if you go later into this game, you're going to get to the point where it's a late game Kog'Maw, and that's just never going to be good.
Yeah.
So I think Mythic wants to try to index more to the early mid game. I'm expecting a lot of fights around dragons, a lot of
Hmm.
posturing with ults. You set up the Ashe ult into the Nocturne ult into the Lux ult. That's going to be what they do.
Yeah.
And if it goes super late, you get those ornaments. You get the late game Xerath with the death cap, the Kog'Maw at 4 or 5 items. You're just going to get shredded.
Yeah. I agree, especially after the nerfs to Lulu, making her late game a lot more important than her early game. Like if this game does go late, Mythic Fabled are going to start to fall off, right? Nocturne isn't going to do as much damage. Sejuani is probably going to be the character that scales the best into this late game composition, into this late game kind of scenario here. So yeah, I definitely think that you've hit the nail on the head here. Sand Ninjas here does not care about this early game here. Mythic Fable definitely has to kind of posture around these early Drakes, around these early Rift Heralds, like they did in game number 2, um, and really try to force the issue as much as they can. Now, sadly, they don't have the Sivir Ziggs combo anymore, so they can't really shove down these waves as fast as they'd like. So they're really going to have to be a little bit more strategic to how they approach this early game as opposed to just unga bunga me kill tower.
Yep, they definitely have to be a little bit more composed and a little more strategic in how they approach different points of this game, but they do have great ultimates for objective setup as well as the great capacity for vision control. So I'm curious to see what happens. I'm also very curious to see what build Trundle will go as well, because maybe this actually is a game where you go like a Frostfire Gauntlet. You just say, you know
Hmm.
what, we need 2 tanks, and if they try to jump on me, I'm just going to slow them to death and not let them get away. Maybe you go that instead of the Divine Sunder. I would still expect them, honestly, to go Divine Sunder because that's just what most people will go as standard. But I think
Right.
Frostfire might actually be the best option if you're Swamp Wizard at this point.
Right.
So we'll see what happens though, and very exciting again at this point. If you're Sand Ninjas, it is do or die because you're about to be buried 6 feet underneath that sand, and you sure as heck don't want that as your grave.
For sure. We're going to take just a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to be on the rift of Mythic Fabled versus Sand Ninjas Game 3. Don't go anywhere. You don't want to miss it. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Style Esports. Here we are on game number 3 of Mythic Fabled versus Sand Ninjas. Mythic Fable's on the blue side, Sand Ninjas on the red. My name is Shinkari. I'm joined by Basket and Ives, and here we are getting ready to get this game underway. Xerath has already done a little bit of poking back and forth here, but now it's up to Mythic to finally put this series to rest and claim themselves as number 1 in the Ionia bracket, as we already have some fighting happening on the top side of the map and maybe on the bot side as well in just a moment. They are already prepping for the bot lane late invade. Basket, are you ready?
Oh yeah, I'm ready. It looks like they are ready for this invade. We'll see if they can catch them out again. They did this in game 1 when they had the Ash Bomb. It looks like they're just going to be able to get this for free. Swamp Wizard has conceded it and said, you know what, I'm just going to go grab some wolves, take the consolation prize, make sure that I actually still get to jungle.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So it is important to note that Alazi did pop Smite here, so won't have it for their next jungle camps, but should be relatively fine. So here we are. Game number 1 is well underway, and we are ready to get this series continued on the ball.
Yep, on to this game 3, but a very similar play to game 1 that Mythic pulled on out. However, this time Sand Ninjas did respect it properly and not give away multiple kills. So now we just get to see kind of what happens. We've got Swamp Wizard already going up top. A lot of damage coming out of this first strike Xerath from Wangbadang, getting a huge edge onto this Lux. And even actually a lot of damage from Panda Lover going on to the Sejuani of Gachu.
Yeah, it really seems like there's no wasted time on any sort of trading back and forth in any of these lanes here. Already so much damage being passed back and forth. There's already a lot of bloodbath already happening here, and Gachi has to be careful because wait a minute, Wangbadang has to be careful here as they're rooted up. They might be stunned as well. That's gonna be the concussive blows coming across as Nocturne finds the first blood there. Now Swamp Wizard in some trouble, has to flash away, but Alazi does have that movement speed. The Q from Braum comes across, but not gonna be able to find it. Alazi needs to be careful not to chase too deep. Panda Lover making their way down, but that is first blood for Mythic.
Yeah, and just a little bit of laziness, I think, from the side of Sand Ninjas, kind of not expecting Braum on the early roam, but with Ashe playing back as far as she is, you would expect that Braum is going somewhere, and there's already another wraparound gank onto Wangbadang. They know he's without summoners, they know he's without teleport.
Yeah, he's going to be snared up here and stuck between Olazi and a hard place. He's going to be able to grab that kill again. Spending way too long in this lane looking for that kill on a W-Cat costs them another kill and into another stack onto W-Cat's Dark Seal.
Yep, and that just puts you at such a deficit. You had already burned the teleport, the wave's going to reset, you're already down an entire wave of gold, and it's bad to worse right now in this early game. So a little bit of pressure mounting on the side of Sand Ninjas, already being down 0-2, and in both the series and in this game, it's not a good start for them, but what a great and proactive start from the side of Mythic with the combination of Alazi and Master Roshi on these early mid lane ganks.
Yeah, Braum has one of the best level 1s in the game because you don't need to land the Q in order to capitalize off of those stacks, right? You really only need to auto attack someone, right? And the Q has a decent amount of range on it as well anyway. So this is a really good start for them. Really strong first few levels, and I love it as well because they really haven't been, the red team really hasn't been doing anything in the bottom lane here. They've been mostly playing ultra defensive here, and obviously they're playing the Kog'Maw, but Master Roshi's immediate answer is like, hey, they're not doing anything to us down here. Let's just go mid lane and do something.
Yeah, playing the proactive game, knowing what they need to get out of their team, but it looks like Madame Lolo might get a little bit caught out here, but should be able to reset pretty easily. But taken dangerously low is going to be forced to reset with a wave pushing in on her.
Yeah, is now WCAP flashing forward, landing the snare as well. That's a good stun onto Got You here, but they're not wasting any time. They're still going underneath the turret. WCAP picks up another. 3 and 1, 0 and 2 on this Lux. 4 stacks on the Dark Seal. What a start for the Lux in the mid lane.
Man, there must be a lot of wanted posters out for Wang Badang right now because there is everyone coming mid lane from the side of Mythic. He must be the ninja that they are looking for because man, they are just taking him to town. But it looks like Swamp Wizard wants to get a little bit of payback, and WCAP not going to get anything. That Lux can just use that light binding and get away.
Yeah, has now got you. Looking for a fight on the panel over here, but I don't know if you want this. Ornhorn is now available. It's going to be R1 coming across, flashing away from R2 preemptively. So that's going to be the re-engage here. The clap, so close. Panda Lover picking up the kill in the top lane.
A great response from the side of Sand Ninjas. Panda Lover getting that kill critically with jungler on bottom side and no teleport from Got You. So that is a wave and a half lost. A great reset for the side of Sand Ninjas. Panda Lover's going to get that good reset and might even opt to roam bottom for this early dragon if they so choose, because he does still have the teleport available and the wave is very much in his favor.
Yeah, for sure. Is now Madame Lolo here. Taking a bit of harass. Finally, Kog'Maw getting a bit of some breathing room down in this bottom lane here. Definitely going to be able to get a little bit more. As this is now the most boring lane in the game. Nothing to either team here. It's just there's so much action fighting and trading up in the top lane. The mid lane has constant ganks, and bot lane is there's a farming Kog'Maw down here, and now Hilsey in some troubles. Alazi finally shows up. Swamp Wizard coming in through the river as well. I turned this into a counter gank. Trundle ready to go. Got You in some trouble up in here as the clap finally comes through. Got You using this as an opportunity to re-engage. Gets the knockup, but that's a whole lot of burst damage coming down from Pandal over here. Might be able to turn this around, but Got You picks up the kill. And now with that, they're going to make their way over to this dragon down in the bottom half of the map here. Now that Swamp Wizard has peeled away. Wang Badang looking for the kill with the ultimate, not going to be able to do so, but WCAT coming through, going to be able to land the snare, and now they're in some trouble because that ultimate does pop the passive, and now they're looking for the kill. Auto attack over the wall, not going to be able to find the kill on WCAT as he escapes by just the skin of their teeth. Oh.
Man, just aggressive play across the board, constantly looking for plays, looking for fights. You know, critically, Olazi was not sick, so did not look to over-index on that dive into the Cog Lulu, but still manages to utilize that advantage to get them an early Infernal Dragon here, while already being up 3 kills. Got about a 1.5k gold lead. Olazi just hit 6, so as soon as they see an opening, they're going in. But Hilsey's also 6, so you could have a little bit of help coming in from the Lulu.
Yeah, they're going to be stunned up after the wild growth here. Madame Lolo is going to be the one picking up the kill in the bot lane.
Yep, really nothing much to say on that one. Just stunned up by Braum passive, stunned up by the paranoia and, you know, the nightmares, and it's just you can't really do much more on that if you're Hilsey. You got no flash. The heal and the wild growth aren't going to help you too much, but looks like they might be looking for a counter gank here, but not going to get anything. Wang Badang kind of wasting just a bit of time coming down here.
Yeah, Wang Badang looking for some advantages somewhere on the map after going 0-3 in the mid lane as WCAT showing up to fight Swamp Wizard here. 1-2 punch. Not even the smite to heal is going to be able to save them from the amount of damage that WCAT can do in this.
Man, it is a disaster for the side of Sand Ninjas. Every time they try to make a play, they try to bring 2 people, there's 3 people from Mythic. They try to go for one objective, there's multiple people there already ready to counter it. Every play, they're getting beaten to the punch and countered at every turn right now.
Yeah, it's really tough to find for Sand Ninjas to find any sort of meaningful opening in this team right now. The really the weakest member arguably is Sejuani on Got You, but even them has been really hard to gank, right? Like Got You has not been like super far forward anytime recently. I think this is the most forward we've seen them in terms of positioning anytime soon, but Trundle is not yet in a position to really capitalize as WCAT's on a killing spree, 3-0-2. Here comes Pandal over here. Trundle finally coming through as R2 is going to knock them into the air. Got You in a little bit of trouble as the Troll Pillar comes down. Does not. There's the charge coming through, but Swamp Wizard still coming through. Does have that movement speed. One chomp finds the kill, but now Olazi is here does not have that paranoia available, so can't dive on a Panda Lover. Is now 1-2-1. The Sejuani and Trundle finally puts himself on the scoreboard. Fissure coming across. DavG is in some trouble here. Cross not going to be able to land that stun finally, but they're finally going to be able to peel back. DavG, and I'm looking at about half HP, as that's going to be Enchanted Crystal Arrow coming across. Now Hilsey in some trouble. Q lands stun from the concussive blows. Is now Hilsey taken incredibly low. Madame Lolo once again picks up that kill.
And just, again, they're trying to make plays, but you're trying to make plays when they can just beat you right now with their wallet, with their experience difference. You're just so far behind right now on the side of Sand Ninjas, and you're about to crash, potentially get this first tower here mid lane. And it's come off of all these early game plays, this pressure that's been put onto Wang Badang, set so far behind as the Xerath 0-4. Still pretty close to his Mythic. Is still actually farming very well for being down this far, but you're just so far behind. You just get blown up by the team. Swamp Wizard's in trouble.
Yeah, and it's once again, WCAT is just so far ahead at this point. All he needs to do is just hit that passive just once, and that ultimate is coming through. As now we get a paranoia onto Xerath on the bottom side there. I don't think he's going to be able to secure that kill. Has got you finding Panda Lover on this top half of the map. Continues swinging back and forth. Ornn, the Forge God versus Sejuani, the Bull Rider, as both these continue back and forth. It's still just, it's just a wet noodle fight at this stage.
Yeah, wet noodle fight top, but it's an absolute decimation artillery match in mid lane. And I mean, you know, WCAT is a cat. They do like lasers, so they're just they're playing to the advantage here.
Now, God, you stuck underneath the turret here. Panda Lover going to find that clap, going to be able to find the kill as well. They're really only able to find just that one turret plate after that demolish there. So they're going to go down again, as Panda Lover seems to be the very strongest on the team for the red side, for Sand Ninjas here. And that's pretty good considering Panda Lover's looking at level 10, and that's really close to start passing out those ornaments.
Yep, that is the two saving graces if you're on the side of Sand Ninjas right now is your Kog'Maw has yet to die. It has Rage Blade, and you have yet to die if you're Kog'Maw. And Ornn is the highest level in the game right now. Like you said, once he starts handing out ornaments, that's when you can start giving out those 1,000 gold stat buffs.
Yeah.
So as long as as long as Sand Ninjas continue to hold the line, give up only as much as you have to, but not too much, you might still be able to mount a comeback here later in the game.
Yeah, and I think the big thing here, the only real thing that I can see as a detriment is that DavG might have to look for a mythic item instead of going for a Blade of the Rune King. Is now Master Roshi in some trouble here, going to use that W in order to jump over to Madame Lolo on the other side of that Trundle Pillar. Going to be able to escape the gank this time. As yeah, just to finish my point real quick, DavG might have to look to buy a mythic instead of looking for Blade of the Rune King or a Runeancier's Master Roshi. Once again, stuck on the back side of this. Glacial Fissure comes across, but this is finally going to be Master Roshi going down. As that's going to be Paranoia coming across here. The Q does not land from Lux. He dives onto the backside, going to be able to find the kill on the Kog'Maw now. That's going to be Wild Growth coming on the Swamp Wizard. That's a double kill for Olazi. The passive finally pops for Kog'Maw here, but they're not going to be able to stop Madame Lolo from pushing on through to the turret here as they pick up a third kill, 3 for 1 down in the bottom lane here. They might be able to pick up this turret as well. So here comes the Xerath ultimate. Going to be able to do some damage. They're not going to be able to find the kill on the Madame Lolo's. Now WCAT going to do the same thing they've been doing all time. Don't know. He's already dead. WCAT picks up another kill, and they're going to be able to walk away from this AOK as now they're on to the Cloud Drake. Going to put themselves at 2 out of 4 for the Soul. And now we move on. The turret and the bot lane has not gone down just quite yet, but there's still a big lead for Mythic here, 6,000 gold.
Yep, it's an absolute massive win here, and Hilsey is just going to get caught and might just die once again. The Lux combo just so strong, and 18 stacked Medjais barely walks away, but also now might be in trouble. Swamp Wizard looking to try to catch her out, pinned, unfortunately, on the other side of the Trundle Pillar, but already 18 stacks on the Medjais. 5-0-4 for this Lux. WCAT is currently the biggest carry in the room.
Yeah, and not to mention, like you said before, Medjais is a legendary item, so that means that they're getting additional magic penetration from that item as well, thanks to that Luden's Echo there has now got you in some trouble once again in this top lane here. Panda Lover trying to get as much out of this top lane as they can. That's going to be Paranoia coming across, as that's the re-entry here. Glacial Prison coming across, but ain't going to be able to get away as the rest of the blue team actually shows up in this top lane. Super Smash Brothers Ultimate, everyone's here. Panda Lover trying to turn this around. Enchanted Crystal Arrow isn't going to stop R2, but it does still go down as Swamp Wizard is now the target. That's going to be Glacial Fissure coming across as Swamp Wizard goes down to Madame Lolo, and now Wang Badang is now in trouble. Lousy flashes forward. There's the slow. There's the fear. There's the stun. There's the death. The turret goes down. 3 members of the red team go down. Make that 4 after that's death in the bot lane to Lux as well. Almost full stacks on the Magi's. Another turret goes down. Mythic is so in control of this game.
In absolute control, and I don't know about you, Shinkari, but it is getting really, really cold in here. The Frail Yord is in full force right now. They are bringing that Ice Storm. Absolute control from everybody on the side of Mythic, and they're just looking to continue to go in. An easy kill onto Hilsey, and you cannot get anything right now if you're the side of Sand Ninjas.
Yeah, you can't even get like a little cheeky kill onto a low health Braum at this stage. It is so hard to find any sort of gap in this Mythic armor right now. Even Got You in the top lane is arguably like their worst performing player at this stage, right? Has like the second highest CS, but has the worst the worst KDA ratio at this stage. And even they're hard to kill, and getting so good assistance from their team as well as Hilsey can't even walk even relatively close to this Ashe Braum combo.
Yeah, you can't walk really close, and yeah, if you're Got You, yeah, you're playing weak side, but it's a good thing the rest of your strong side is really, really strong, and there's not much you have to do here as Got You besides just be the front line, be the meat shield, survive as long as you can, and let Ashe and Lux do the work.
Yeah. Or even seeing Got You here just kind of being as good as a meat shield as they can be, and that's going to be Paranoia jumping on a Xerath underneath this inhibitor turret here. Going to be able to find a kill for themselves. Master Roshi needs to be careful, tanking up the turret and taking really low here. They might go down. Swamp Wizard looking for the kill here. Olazi forced to go away. That's going to be Lux Ultimate coming across. Might be actually help secure some of these kills as Enchanted Crystal Arrow comes across, and Ornn rather is stunned up. Can't defend against the push from the blue side here as they go and pick up now an inhibitor thanks to Shelly. Might even get some damage onto this Nexus turret as well. They're marching all the way to it. They might even get it. There's the charge. There's the turret. Holy moly.
18.5 in, and they're already knocking on the base. The only reason they're stopping is because they don't have anything, but they're looking for a re-engage here on the side of Sand Ninjas. It's do or die.
No, WCAT just gets the clean double kill with the Lux Ultimate. And now Panda Lover's the only member left. He has so low HP. The two have finally respawned.
Here comes Kog'Maw.
Now Swamp Wizard are coming through, but look at the top lane. They're spending so much time, but Olazi just gets an easy kill up in the top lane. Gets an easy turret up in the top lane as well. This is a bloodbath.
Yeah, it is a slaughter. And yeah, I mean, WCAT with this Lux massively ahead, fully stacked Magi's, is close to, I would assume she's going to go third item death cap at this point. I would see no reason for you to go at this point. Go Shadow Flame, just go onto that death cap, and you're just looking at the side of Sand Ninjas, and again, the only saving grace is you have a level 12 Ornn. He's getting there. Like, you know, it's at this point, it's the little engine that could. They're trying to find a way back in, but they're about to be 3 dragons down. It'll be soul point for the side of Mythic, and it's not even 20 minutes here.
Yeah, it's not even 20 minutes. We're looking at Soul Point Drake, and Panda Lover finally got that Forge Fire Crest for himself here, and that's the biggest thing for him. But you even said, oh no, Tap Geo, no. How much HP does this poor guy have? 36. And WCAT is still looking for it too. He's still looking for the kill. Oh no. Here comes the rest of the team, buffed up by that Earth Drake they have. And now they're looking to maybe end the game. They have a super minion wave here. The enemy team, all right, That's going to be R1 blocked up by Master Roshi there. That's the good thing about having Brahmin Orn here. Swamp Wizard on the back end. He's one of your tanks, and he's already down. Now they're onto the turret here. These demolition stacks are going to be huge if Ganyu decides to capitalize on it, but he doesn't need to. There's 2 members of the red team already down. The shields come through, but the AoE damage is better. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All the members are dead. 20 minutes in. Mythic Fabled win this match 3-0.
What a series from Mythic Fable, bouncing back from the previous finals matchup, coming in through the lower bracket, and just running the table 3-0 as a shutout for Mythic. Absolute slaughter. The Ash Braum combo, absolutely clutch. The early roam proactivity mid lane to shut down some of this late game power that you get out of this Xerath. They gave Sandages zero room to work with, zero opportunity to scale, and just absolutely demolished them at every turn. GG, well played to your Season 12 Ionia bracket champions, Mythic Fabled.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, this was such a well played game by them. Insane. And I really wanted to point out that like this is as the series went on, you can really see like a straight line going diagonally upwards for how Mythic Fabled did were playing against Sand Ninjas, right? At the beginning, it was a long game that Sand Ninjas had the lead at the beginning, and there were a bunch of back and forths. Game 2, Sand Ninjas had a little bit of a way back into the game, but the second it hit game number 3, Mythic Fabled had no chinks in the armor, right? There were nothing there. There were no kinks in the armor. There were nothing there. It was just a real quick and easy 20-minute game. Holy moly.
Yeah, absolutely demolish as soon as, like you said, every game in the series, it went from close to not close to not even close.
Yeah.
It's it was getting so rough, and again, very much well played, knowing how to play their win condition, knowing how to play their matchup correctly. Again, the Ash Braum, it can go one of two ways, and it always flipped on heads for the side of Mythic, and they absolutely just ran the table. You see the damage numbers. An Ash with 20,000 damage at 20 minutes. A
Hmm.
Lux with 22,000 damage at 20 minutes. The highest damage member was the Ornn Pandalover with 14,500 damage
Yeah.
on the side of the Sand Ninjas. So it was a full overload on the mid bot side of the map from minute 1. It started with the invade, and it just kept going. You never gave them a little bit of room to breathe. And the coordination, the really great macro from the side of Mythic has earned them this championship.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, this was a really well played game. I think the last thing I want to ask you is like if you had to pick an MVP for this series for Mythic Fabled, who's your MVP?
Oh man, that's a tough one. That like WCAT definitely had popped off, especially this last game. You could look at that and say, "Oh
Hmm.
my gosh, absolutely insane." Um, I think though, this is a tough one. It's
Mm.
between Olazi and Madame Lolo for me
Okay.
because they both played their roles so well. Especially if you look at game 1, Madame Lolo started from behind, down to unfortunate circumstances versus a 5-0 MF, and just still
Right.
came back and was so strong with the Ash pick middle and later into the game.
Hmm.
And that's not even to, again, it's like you could kind of give this to everyone except for perhaps I would say maybe got you. Sorry, you kind of played the weak side. Like even Master Roshi again played a lot of great plays with his roams
Hmm.
to net his team critical advantages. So it's really tough, but I would have to go with either Olazi or Madame Lolo as one of
Okay.
my two MVPs. What about you?
I I think I'm gonna go with WCAT. And maybe it's
Okay.
a little bit of recency bias, but like I'm mostly thinking about game number 2 where WCAT was like on the Ziggs was like pretty pivotal to that whole strategy of like pushing down the turrets as fast as possible. And
Oh, you're right.
there was like a strict moment where Ziggs was just able to just push down 2 turrets in the bottom lane as well just by himself, right? Like that was a pretty big moment as well. And the Victor play in game number one was really, really good as well. Like WCAT like might have popped off like super hard in game number three. That might be a little bit of recency bias for me, but WCAT still had like a lot of really, really good games in game number one and game number two that really helped out their team and really played really, really well for me to give them an MVP for that one. So uh, I don't think we both need to have like the same one, but I think you're mostly right that like Mythic Fabled as a team played really, really well. And it's really hard to just single out one person as an MVP.
Yeah, they were all MVPs in different ways
Mm-hmm.
with different components of the game.
Yeah.
And, maybe we could pick one out if we went back through and we kind of watched critical fights,
Mm-hmm.
in a VOD to kind of go with, okay, the reason WCAT ahead because maybe there was three roams from Olazi or Roshi,
Right.
or the reason that Roshi stayed alive there was from, critical satchel disengage from WCAT. So there's a lot of different ways that you could look at it, but either way, Mythic proved that they all were, as a team, the MVPs of this series as they ran the table 3-0, not giving, besides that first game, they did not give an inch to the Sand Ninjas to have a shot into this game.
Yeah, for sure. But with that, that's going to do it for us here. Thank you all so much for tuning into Style Esports this evening. If you haven't already, press that follow button. We have League of Legends action for you to watch nearly every single day. And if you're feeling generous, press that subscribe button. It is September. It's 20% off, and it helps us keep the lights on here at Style Esports. But from the entire live broadcast crew, Basket and I is my co-caster for this evening. Thank you all so much for tuning in, and we'll see you at the next match. Bye bye. And we should be clear. I just turned off OBS. Just waiting for the stream to go down. Hold on. This interaction failed.